What is going on? Welcome back to Memes and Markets. Keith, how are you, man?
Today is the best day of my life. Ben, how you doing?
Today's great, man. So we're trying to stream on Instagram for the first time, and so I think we are, but it looks like the layout might be kind of mangled. What's going on,
Only
chat? How are
Bram.
we? How are
What
we?
up,
How are
chat?
we? What up? We got Bram with us. We got What a Sale. How are you? And appreciate having y'all here. Don't be shy in the chat. And then, yeah, what are we talking today, Keith?
Today we're talking about oil. Talking about oil and why the situation with oil is continuing. Let me just say it that way.
Yeah, 100%. And it's something that you've been preaching for a while about. You think people should be paying a lot more attention to this.
Yeah, man. I mean, come on, guys. You got world leaders coming out telling people things are about to get tough. Last time we saw something like that was what, 2020. So no, it just reminds me of that. And I had a conversation with one of my really close friends the other day, and he was just like, "What are you freaking out about, bro? Like, chill out." And I'm like, you know what?
Really?
You're right. But at the end of the day, there are still things that are physically occurring in the world. So I just trying to be as cautious about that as possible.
Yeah, I think it's better to prepare yourself for a bad situation, right? So that way you're not. I also think that's kind of like, especially as you as a trader, your history in that, it's probably your natural temperament to like just see the cards that are on the table and position yourself accordingly for any of the scenarios.
I appreciate that. That's really how I've been looking at it, is just looking at the actual data itself and trying to move based off of that. But there's a ton of fun stuff to talk about here as far as structurally what this actually means for oil markets, as well as the future of, honestly, the global monetary system, right? Because we're starting to see some real shifts. This week, we heard from the United Arab Emirates
Mm-hmm.
and how they are planning to leave this organization called OPEC.
Mm-hmm.
So today, I think we can take some time to like break down a little bit of what is OPEC. Uh, why does it matter that some random country in the Middle East, to a lot of people, is leaving OPEC, and what does that actually mean for you and your money, and especially at the gas pump and for all of oil markets moving forward?
As bad as everything is, I do think it's really cool as someone who loves to learn shit that at least we get to kind of know why things are bad. Do you know what I mean?
Very true.
Whereas
Very
like
true.
before, like the world has always been screwed up. People have always been complaining the sky is falling and all these things, but no one could understand why. It was purely whatever the few media headlines that they had access to told them, right? Whereas now, as things are more publicly accessible, and hopefully even more so with blockchain in the near future, you can actually see the data.
Facts. The guy who uses like the Palantir Overwatch thing, I always forget what it's called, but the data on at looking at like the ships traveling through the Strait of Hormuz, which is, that major area out of the Gulf Coast over in the Middle East with Iran that's being blocked off. Um, you can literally just see how many ships are going through because of the satellites, and because you can just go to the internet and see what the satellites see and
Mhm.
stuff like that. It's kind of crazy.
It's wild. We don't have to rely on, there's this wild story that, whenever we do a show about, like, UFOs and stuff, we gotta talk about, like, remote viewing and stuff with that too, because there's this crazy story of this guy who remote viewed, like, this massive submarine in Russia, where it's like now, like, for this kinda stuff, it's so publicly accessible, or more a lot more so, right? Because it's not like a
Mhm.
military thing, it's a trade thing, so it's a lot easier to get this data.
Very true. Very true. Um, Man, remote viewing. We could go down a whole rabbit hole
We'll do that for
there.
another episode, but I want you to people wanna learn about oil, and you got a lot to teach, so I wanna learn too.
Cool. So, I mean, I think the thing that I would want to start off with is we talked about this a little bit last week, and I wanted to update some of the things that I didn't say properly too, because uh, OPEC, Okay, is like the big oil cartel that we have today. And that stands for the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And it was formed, I believe, in actually the 60s, a little bit before the detachment of the US dollar from gold. And so um, I dug a little bit deeper. Some of you guys saw the video today. The history of how this has kind of gone was like late 1800s, um, oil, diesel, and whatnot, as we use it all today, was becoming much more of a thing. At that time, in the 1800s, you had like steam boats and like stuff traveled with steam trains, all of that. It
Mm.
wasn't actually with oil at all. It's kind of crazy to think about that only over the past 100 years, really, has oil actually been the main mode of how you get energy across the world and transport goods. And so late 1800s rolls around, you have this massive discovery of like how to get oil out of the ground more effectively, and then you had different products that oil were being used to do. Like at first, kerosene was like the major thing, but kerosene, I don't actually understand it fully, but it wasn't as um essentially the diesel and stuff that what we use today was like a byproduct, right, of oil. It wasn't like the main use case that everyone had for oil coming out of the ground, not diesel and like gasoline, rather. But it turned into that. And so, anyways, as that's happening, you have one guy, his name is John D. Rockefeller. What does he do? He starts a company. Basically, right around the same time that some scientists figured out how to get oil out of the ground more effectively, or at least this was a little bit further down the line. But at the end of the day, this was when things started to take off for Rockefeller. So now you can get oil out of the ground super effectively. But Rockefeller's idea was, look, I don't need to be the guy out there going and finding all the oil. That's not a good business. Like it's really hard and you hit or you miss. So he's like, I don't want that. I just want to refine the oil and turn it into the stuff that people want to use. So he did that, but he did that very aggressively. He was like, I'm going to own all of the oil refineries. Would buy them out. If they didn't want to be bought out, he'd say, oh, it'd be such a bummer if someone lowered the prices and took you out of business and then bought you out anyways. And and ran that across the entire nation, and even tried to really do it abroad as well. And so what ends up happening is, funny enough, John D. Rockefeller ends up in a situation where entire laws are created around the activities that they're doing, where they're being anti-competitive. And so the Sherman antitrust law is actually created in response to the fact that the Standard Oil Company took over the entire oil market.
That's why it exists?
That's why it exists.
Bro, that's awesome. Not awesome,
And
but you know what I'm saying.
yeah, it's crazy when you listen to David Sinra,
Mhm.
of the Founders Podcast. He's in love with John D. Rockefeller, and I mean, from the perspective of pure business person, it's like, well, that makes sense because he's not breaking any laws. You know what I'm saying, to do what
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
doing. So it's like he's playing the game as it were at the time. Now, to be fair, there's definitely a lot of questions about the moral ways that he went about doing business, but from a legal perspective, the things that he was doing for the most part weren't
Or illegal.
necessarily illegal.
Yeah, his books that he had were pretty crazy in terms of, like, how he viewed the situation.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. So they did some messed up stuff for sure. But moving forward, right? So Sherman Antitrust Act comes up. They go to court, Supreme Court case. They're basically like, look, this isn't legal. You guys can't do this. Breaks up the company into several different companies. Crazy thing about that is all those companies pretty much still exist today. You've got Exxon Mobil, Chevron, and then one other big one, BP, and stuff like that. They're all basically descendants of what John D. Rockefeller actually created with Standard Oil. And so now you've got a fragmented version of oil monopoly, but really it's the same exact thing, right? So you have what are called the Seven Sisters. These are the seven largest oil companies, and at this point, in like I guess early 1900s ish, this starts to become a global phenomenon. Most of this was happening in the United States, as far as the vast quantities of oil being pumped. Russia was also making some major moves. Um, and so, exploration starts to happen. These companies start going abroad. They're like trying to find out where they can get the most oil and so on. And basically started, colonizing in a way to figure out, hey, where can we get the most oil at? And so uh, you had private companies that would essentially like dig oil out of the ground on behalf of these other nations and whatnot, and would like uh, sell it back to the countries essentially. So the countries are not in control of their own oil fields, and they were like, We don't like this. This is a lot of power that these private companies have." Especially as our economies become more and more reliant upon oil, like our whole country is at the fate of what these companies are going to do. So the 1960s comes around, and pretty much in the Middle East, they're like, we're not doing this. Like, this is our oil, it's our land. We need to have control over this. And so they started this thing called OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And some of the founding members were like Saudi Arabia, Venezuela. Let me see which ones were the other ones. There's a few other countries essentially that were a part of that initial um, organization. And they said, look, um, we're going to take over our oil markets. And the way that they actually did it was essentially they nationalize the production. So there's this company that now exists called Saudi Aramco. And that was at the time like it was a private company. But Saudi Aramco now is actually owned by Saudi Arabia, essentially. They took over
Mm.
the company.
Wait, so
And
who made that company in the first place?
I actually don't have the exact answer to that, but I imagine it was some probably
American entity?
Americans that were over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So they took it over. They're like, "No, we're not doing that." And formed another cartel. Because the thing is like you kind of want to have steady oil prices if for one you want to have profits from the producer's perspective, and also if you're a country that wants to make sure that business can go on as usual throughout your economy, you kind of
Mhm.
need to have stable oil prices. If prices get too high, obviously it gets prohibitive to do business or to move things around and so on. If prices are too low, then you also have this situation where oil producers are not making money, and that has other spillover effects into the economy and so on. And I'm sure there's some other reason why you just can't have low oil prices that I don't understand. But
I think it's to control the system, man.
you know, so in anyways, it's better for the system that you have steady, stable oil prices.
Yes. And it also because it's just painful enough where, like, people will complain about it, but they won't find a different solution.
Mhm.
That seems like psychologically what it is to me in terms of the prices, is it
Mhm.
seems like they try to find that sweet spot of, like, yes, everyone will complain, but no one will complain enough where they actually look into this.
I mean, that's a really good point. We're seeing a lot of this in real time with the war that's happening in the Middle East. People started saying, "Oh, this is going to be great for renewables because oil prices are going higher." But in reality, like oil prices, we've seen announcements bring oil prices back down, and even the events that we're seeing right now that we're going to dive into a little bit later, bringing oil prices back down because it's in these companies and these organizations' best interest to get the prices back down if they want to continue to survive. Because as you
Mhm.
just mentioned, if the price is too high, well, then it actually just logically makes sense to find alternatives.
It's so tightly correlated towards the public's perception of whoever is currently sitting in office. Bro,
Hmm.
it's like the price of oil is such a big thing, like, even my buddies in Florida, like, when I'll ask them, like, "Oh, how do you think this person's doing?" From, like, Trump or Biden before them, like, one of the first things they say is gas. I'm like, "That's so fascinating how deeply ingrained that is into people's psyche about how, like, how high leverage of a lever point that is."
No, certainly. And it's so interesting that yeah, I feel like that's definitely been, I don't know, like I just remember being a kid, right? And like that was the thing that people would talk about when they're talking about political candidates coming up, who's going
That's
to get
all
the
the
gas prices higher
Bro,
or
all the
whatever.
time. What a powerful control mechanism that becomes. And energy, like, why it's such a big deal is that the majority of our technological progress has come from improvements in our ability to capture and store and use energy, right? So, and even when you wanna move to, say, like, electricity is a very difficult problem of in terms of creating it in a sustainable way, whatever, and then also storing it and transferring it is a very difficult thing. Whereas oil, for all of its faults, it does have those things a lot more sorted, right? Like, it doesn't have, like, a shelf life. It is a lot more transferable. So, like, there are pros to using oil for things. So it makes sense why the reliance and the dependency gets created. But in its current form, it seems like part of that, at least from the system perspective, is largely manufactured for the benefit of a small group of people.
For sure. Everyone's been talking about the fact that like all the scientists been disappearing. Like, oh, I wonder why. It's like some of them were talking about
0 point.
potentially, yeah, 0 point energy and all that kind of stuff.
So
So that's coming up.
that's worth talking about. We should do an episode all on that completely, where a lot of people believe that Nikola Tesla cracked that whole thing, right?
Facts.
And a lot of times, like, people will be like, okay, so did that person motivate? It depends how conspiratorial you want to go, but people will be like, okay, because for the Tesla car company, like, I believe Elon bought it, but
Mhm.
did they buy it because they wanted that to be what people think of when they look when they Google Tesla instead of Nikola Tesla?
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Who knows?
Interesting. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, it's definitely super fascinating to think that he's the one, right, trying to carry that torch of that name.
they definitely turned him into a character. Like, that's also, we said this yesterday, where I would love to have him on the show, man. Be like, "How do you tweet this much and run these companies if that's what we're doing here? Like, how is that possible?" I run companies, and mine are a fraction of the size of his, and I don't have time to tweet, right? So, like, how is this guy doing that? You know what I mean?
For sure. For sure. Yeah, that is probably the scientific revolution that we need to figure out in this age
Is what?
is how is it possible for Elon Musk to
To tweet this
tweet
much?
that often?
Yeah.
But so you get to the 70s and whatnot. The 60s, they create OPEC. 70s happens. OPEC becomes more important. More countries are like, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's join this thing and say, hey, we want to put a cap on oil production so that prices stay somewhat elevated, but also don't get too high. And that we have control over all that. So 1970s comes around, and then the U.S. ends up kind of having an issue. Okay, the U.S. gets an issue with the Middle East because there's a war happening over there. Israel's got a war that they're having. It's called the Yom Kippur War, and the OPEC was like, "We're going to embargo the U.S. over support for Israel. They're going to kick them out of being able to have our oil. We don't want them to have our oil." I believe is what happened. And the American economy did not do very well from that. So you had oil prices going crazy high. They basically quadrupled at that time. And the American economy gets crushed from that. So about a year later, Henry Kissinger from the United States and the Saudi crown prince they come together and they come with an arrangement. Also, mind you, a couple years before all of this, the US just detached from the gold standard.
Mm. What's the gold standard for anyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, so gold dollars used to be convertible for gold, US dollars. So if you had a $100 US dollar bill, you could go to your bank and convert that for a certain amount of gold. And so the gold, excuse me, the dollar was pegged to gold. It was fractional, right? It wasn't like $1 equals 1 ounce of gold. It was a fractional system, but it was somewhat attached to gold. And so in 1971, what happened was a bunch of countries were like they were storing their gold in the United States in return for U.S. dollars, and they were like, "Hey, we kind of want to get our gold back. We're kind of seeing that you guys are printing a bunch of money. Like, there's no way that that's being backed." And so we want to get our gold out. And the US was like, how about no? And then, so that just collapsed that entire system. And they came up with the complete fiat system. Gold, the US dollars are no longer convertible to gold. Just take our dollars and, figure it out. So, anyways, um, a couple years later, the Yom Kippur War happens. Saudi is like, nah, y'all can't do business with us like that. We got the oil. What's up? 1974, Henry Kissinger is like, look, let's do something here. And they signed an agreement where becomes the petrodollar system, where Saudi Arabia agrees with the U.S. to price oil exclusively in U.S. dollars, and because of that, right? So they're producing all this oil. Saudi Arabia is like the number one essentially producer at the time. They're like, look, we're gonna make this oil, we're gonna get this oil out of the ground. We will sell our oil only in US dollars. And we will take those US dollars and we will put the surplus into US treasuries and into US stocks and so on and so forth. We'll invest into the United States. But in exchange, the US is going to provide military protection because you got to think also there's a nice amount of conflict happening in the region, right? You just had the Yom Kippur War, Israel's attacking people. Iran's not super friendly with everybody. They all got issues. They got beef with each other. Like, look, let's just make this money. In US, you come over here and like make sure everybody's straight. Cool. So that's pretty much what was happening around then. And when Saudi Arabia is the largest oil producing country in the region at the very minimum, and they're pricing in dollars, everyone else does the same thing, right? They just set the lead for what the market does. And after that, the dollar maintains its reserve currency status, even though it's not backed by gold or anything at all. It's just backed by these security guarantees, essentially, that they've promised to Saudi Arabia that they would come over there and make sure everybody's cool. If they need help, we got you.
And why is that so significant on a global scale?
That the dollar is the reserve currency?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, mainly because there was no reason for it to be, for one, right? So the reason that it ends up being important is because this allows the US to export its inflation. Okay.
Bing, bing, bing.
So the US, and yeah, this is definitely the crux of the whole situation here. Because the US has complete control over the money printer, essentially, right? You could say it's the Fed or whatever. Because they can just print money whenever they want, when the US prints money, it should impact everyone in the US, right? Because more dollars in circulation is going to equal higher prices. But when there's a demand for those US dollars outside of the United States, when the US prints money, all of the absorption of higher prices does not have to come to the United States. It is essentially shipped and exported out to the rest of the world. And so all of these other countries are using US dollars and getting a security guarantee in exchange so that they can keep doing business as normal. But the value of their currencies, um, and their ability to, if they take out any US debts, can get really difficult if the value of the dollar rises against their local currency. So there's a trade-off to all of that. But in general, um, yes, they're exporting their inflation.
Yes. Welcome back, Carl, by the way. We've had
Oh,
people
no
asking
way.
about you in the chat. Carl's back.
Whoa. What up,
What up,
Carl?
Carl? Hope you're well. Uh, yeah, so I think it's very important foundational knowledge in terms of like why the world is the way that it is, right? And then also, if you think about how that would allow things to trickle down to our current situation, I think that's a very important thing to understand. And the shift from the gold standard to the petrodollar is like this, when they say like we're kind of living in that world order, and that seems like it's being shaken up, changed, and they're to me, it feels like they're about to pitch something different here in the not too distant future.
Yes. So pushing it forward, well, to fully solidify the thing that you were talking about, the American dollar, the US dollar being the world reserve currency, does a few things. One of them, it allows the US to borrow cheaply. Okay, when you have foreign demand for US dollars and US treasuries because of these dollars, it keeps US interest rates low. So let me dig on that because this is really important and it's literally showing up right now. So I'm the United States and I would like to build bridges and do amazing things for my country and provide healthcare, all that doesn't happen, whatever it is. I need to borrow money to do that because I'm not actually collecting enough money in taxes to be able to pay for all of these different things that we're doing. So the US borrows money. Even if I did, I would still borrow money because why would I use my own money? So I borrow money from the world. Now, if I'm borrowing money at a rate or in a way that doesn't look sustainable, then people are gonna be like, if I'm gonna lend you my money, you're gonna have to pay me a little bit more,
Mhm.
right? So what happens here when you have this artificial demand for US dollars through the petrodollar system is that there's actually a higher demand for lending money to the United States just because I have dollars that I need to do something with. Then now the rates on that borrowing come down, even if I'm not that worthy of a borrower. And so that becomes a really important piece of this entire system because, once again, these countries are selling their oil in US dollars just out of a mandate. Okay, they're earning dollars and they're having to figure out, what am I going to do with these dollars? I can't just sit on cash. I'm going to invest that into U.S. Treasuries so that I can earn a yield. The U.S. Treasuries are me lending money to the U.S. government. These are loans that I'm giving to the U.S. government. And so, because of this artificial demand, purely based off of security guarantees, the actual rate on those treasuries comes down because there's an excess amount of money that just needs to go into treasuries. And this is that inverse relationship of bond prices to yields. So the yield on the bond goes down when the price of the bond goes up. When there's a higher demand for these bonds, as a lender, I'm essentially I'm getting paid less, okay, because of the fact that basically normally because this borrower is someone who's a worthy borrower. I trust you to pay me back. So there's an excess demand for lending you money. Cool. Just wanted to really spell that out.
No, that's
So you,
awesome. I think we should do that all the time because we do go through stuff and, like, we assume that people know stuff, so that's great.
totally. So cheap borrowing, big thing. Next thing is cheap imports because now you have a stronger dollar, which means that the US can now buy goods from other countries at a much more affordable rate. And as we mentioned, the next thing, lower inflation, because the rest of the world is now absorbing all of the inflation of the new dollars that are being printed. And overall, you also have this concept of sanctions. When everyone's using the US dollar system, well, then we have control over that. And if we don't want you to use our dollars or we don't want you to participate in the economy, we can just cut you off.
It's an incredibly powerful political weapon.
Bang, bang. And so, if for any reason the petrodollar would weaken, you'd see, you would imagine that you'd see rising treasury yields, you'd see a weaker dollar, you'd see inflation creeping up, and you'd see US sanctions not biting. It wouldn't work. So those are kind of some of the things that we're seeing right now. And as you say, the system is starting to show these cracks and starting to change in front of us.
Yeah, and I don't know if we can even guess what the new one will look like, 'cause I know that people at the time probably couldn't have predicted, like, the petrodollar becoming what it was. I'm sure some people close enough to it probably could have, but yeah, it'll be very interesting to see the next form that takes shape. There's so many people that talk about this now. Some good sources, if you want to further go down these rabbit holes, is stuff. People like Simon Dixon,
Mhm.
Jeff Booth. His approach is the fact that this is changing, and he thinks that Bitcoin will basically be the market's answer to this, of us, like, the public demanding their own solution through coming together through something like Bitcoin. Um, that's a potential reality. I still think that the technological limitations may make that difficult, but what I always say, and you and I go back and forth on this all the time, is that if Bitcoin allows everyone to understand that the concept is something that could even potentially be achieved, is it that much harder to tell them, okay, so, like, we just need this because this is a little bit better for this, this, and this, and this, and this, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Mhm.
don't know if it needs to be the whole be all end all, like a lot of people are claiming that it needs to be, for it to still serve its existing purpose. Does that make sense?
100%. 100%. It's like, it's, wait, there's an alternative?
Precisely. It's a shock moment. It's a wow thing, right? Because I think if you follow, like, the thought exercises and do, like, systems thinking in terms of, like, why is everything so messed up, it all comes back to the money, man. Every single time. The incentive structures create good or bad things, and they're so out of whack and so corruptible, and if you pay attention for even a little bit, you see that shit. And you're also reminded of this all the time whenever you hear a politician speak on TV, and they're so out of touch, and they're speaking for you and me. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, look around the politicians around the world. They're now at this point they're literally like full on creators from like reality TV shows and
Yes.
movies. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I feel like they're a little over their skis at this point.
Yeah, that part of it's super wild for sure. It's all just become a big show in that regard.
Why are you not at the Bitcoin conference? Because we've not been embraced by the Web3 community yet
At all.
at all, dude. It's crazy, bro. It's insane. I kind of love it though because we're purely free agents,
Yeah.
no
Yeah, and
affiliation to anyone.
facts, facts. And it'll all be super interesting when we do all the other stuff too, because then it's like, oh, these guys are that thing, and
Mhm. Oh,
also happen to be pretty representative of the crypto space, but
th I think we'll bring a ton of people to retail
Mhm, mhm,
through, like, sorry, to crypto, a ton of
mhm,
retail to crypto, right? Through this show, but then also the products that we build that just give people better experiences. Like, that's where I feel it'll be like the light bulb moment where, like, man, if I was a big chain, I would be looking for people like us and like giving a sales pitch of like, come build here.
for sure.
Like, how are they not doing that?
Fascinating.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. And my whole YouTube journey was that feeling of like, why are people not reaching out to me yet? And I'd still, even now, it's pretty interesting. I guess, I mean, there's just so much out there at the end of
You
the
wanna
day.
hear my guess?
Let's hear it.
Is because the benefit that you and I have now, Keith, is that, like, we won pretty well in the last wave of the internet, but we didn't, like, win huge, right?
Mhm.
Why that's so advantageous is because everyone else is focusing on, like, one thing, and they're so close to it, and there's so many people involved in helping them. They have so many other problems. They can't detect signal from noise because they're too close to the problem, right? So, basically, like, it's a lot like when I was telling you about when I would speak to these executives at big companies, and they're like, "Oh, social media is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant," right? Until it's, like, thrown in their face. Now they're all being like, "Okay, I understand this." It happens at smaller scales, even with newer wage companies, right?
Mm,
And so I think that, like, when the eyeballs start coming back to crypto, which I think they're very much about to, and NFTs might actually ironically be a big driving force in that, I do think that people will wake up like this. I think they'll realize, like, "Oh my god, this is the whole thing that we should have cared about the whole time," and then the dynamics will change completely. But case in point, right? I talked about this a bunch of times where, like, I literally reached out to Cardano as a Cardano supporter and tried to help them for free, and they didn't even think that that was, like, something worth pursuing.
crazy.
Right? But they'll wake up, I think, very quickly, because the Web3 is missing storytellers, and Keith D is a fantastic storyteller. Like, if people don't see that, like, you're missing the entire mark. People move markets, and markets move people. Sorry, stories move people. I fucked that up. That could have been a bar. But so let me repeat that for so people move markets. Fuck, I fucked it up. What was the oh, fuck.
It
That was a
said
good bar, though.
markets move people. No, I don't know. It made sense.
Yes. Uh,
People do move markets,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then
Oh,
stories move people.
there stories move people. That's it. Sorry, that was butchered.
You
But yeah,
wanna you wanna repeat you
so
wanna
it's markets move people, right? Did I fuck it up? Markets
people
move
move
people and
markets.
stories move people. I screwed that up. Thanks
We'll
for the memes, guys.
we'll do
We'll try
another
again
take,
later.
and then we'll bring it back. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of live.
Oh, yeah, so
Um,
good. We get all these tries. I'll get roasted in the comments for that. But I think you people get my point, right?
100%, man.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes. It's helping me here. Stories move people and people move markets. That's great. Lucas, we got to give him mod status. Give him a mod status.
No, but you're right on, man. And this idea that crypto is starting to, I mean, it's I called this out, not, I mean, look, it came up pretty early when they were talking about the toll booth that they were trying to create or whatever, I think. And it was just like, oh, they're gonna use yuan was the first headline. And I was like, guys, this is about to turn into a crypto story real fast. And it has continued to do so. And also to backtrack just a little bit, um, the most biggest thing that happened this week was the UAE saying that they're going to pull out of OPEC. And so let's talk about the significance of that really quickly. OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, has most of its power through what's called excess capacity, spare capacity. Like, yes, there's obviously a control of how much gets produced, but that's done through like most people are producing at the highest levels that they can, but
Mhm.
some are not. They're holding back, like Saudi Arabia and like the UAE. Okay, they have huge amounts of excess capacity that they could be going out and drilling, but they're not. And so, Saudi and the UAE are probably the two biggest of all of the excess capacity members. So what do? They hold back. But right now, the UAE is saying, "Look, I'm done with this. I'm not playing this game. I would like to have more control over my economy for one, and two, the world needs some more oil production because you guys have blocked off the Strait of Hormuz, and this becomes a massive issue if we don't figure this out." Now, to be fair, technically, the blocking of the Strait of Hormuz doesn't really take a like the impact of them leaving probably won't be seen that well, right? Because it's like, well, you can't get anything through there anyway, so that's a whole different question for a different day. But what it does though is it tells everyone else around the world that, hey, you don't have to be a part of this OPEC thing. You can do what you want. Take control over your oil and your destiny. And so it does seem like that could very quickly become a cascading thing. We've already seen reports of Venezuela considering leaving, Kazakhstan considering leaving, and others so that they can essentially produce more oil to make up for the fact that the Strait of Hormuz over in the Middle East is blocked off. So, the point of that is marking a major restructuring of the global order and how countries and organizations are going to respond to the things that are happening. When we look at on the crypto side, the blockchain side, the money system side, what Iran did was they blocked off the Strait of Hormuz. They said, "Oh, you can't come through here unless you pay in yuan or in crypto." Hmm. Okay, weird, but sure. Then we saw that they were accepting crypto. And we just saw last week Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury of the United States, freeze $300 million dollars or whatever in Tether
Mhm.
because it was linked to Iran payments to get through the Strait of Hormuz. We just saw another headline this morning. I'm not sure, I haven't seen the details around it, but apparently they froze another little bit of some stable coins, another few hundred million or whatever in stable coins. And so first thing that came to my mind around that is like, okay, well, this starts to show the cracks in using stable coins for any country that's trying to get around US dollar sanctions and all of that. And that pushes people directly towards the permissionless types of systems if you were going to use crypto to do it, right? Huge advertisement for Bitcoin. You can't freeze Bitcoin.
Yes,
And
and why can't you freeze Bitcoin?
great question. So, Bitcoin is a network of tons and tons, thousands and thousands of computers that are all existing around the world. To explain why you can't freeze Bitcoin, it might make sense to explain why you can freeze a stablecoin. So, a stablecoin, although it exists on these blockchains that are supposed to be permissionless systems, which means that anyone can use it or whatever, in reality, stablecoins exist on smart contract platforms. And the issuers of stablecoins are essentially US regulated entities, meaning that what happens is you take your dollar in the real world, you buy a stablecoin. The stablecoin issuer who's providing that stablecoin to you, they're going to take your dollar and they're going to go buy a US treasury with that. And then they will give you your stablecoin in return, but they control the issuance and the redemption of that stablecoin. So it's a blockchain thing, but it really happens off of chain. Really, the reality of what's happening is off chain with these custodial stablecoins in particular.
Mhm.
Now, with Bitcoin, it's a very different thing. It's essentially this big distributed database for money that thousands and thousands of computers contribute to basically maintaining the network. And so the way that the whole system works, you've got the proof of work and the mining mechanism and all of that, which is more complex to think about how it works. But just imagine that if you and I, Ben, have a computer, if my computer goes down, your computer can keep going and it can keep running the network. And so, no matter what, as long as one of these computers is up, then the network continues on. Well, that's been extrapolated out to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of these computers called nodes. on the Bitcoin network. And so essentially, there is, because of the fact that all of these computers are independent of one another, they're constantly running the code. And if someone wants to submit a transaction to that network or a database update to the network, then they're able to do that as long as one of these computers essentially is working. So there's no way to really shut down the Bitcoin blockchain. And there's no one entity, there's no bank or government or whatever that owns it or controls it. It's just completely distributed.
Mhm.
So anyway, I don't know if that answers the question.
I think it did very well. So why is that so important? It's because if we're seeing and explaining that a lot of these systems that we're told are free market, but they're not truly free market forces, especially at this point, as we're seeing out loud, right? Where control can be created through the distribution of who gets access to money. How close can you be to the access of money to then influence the global perception and prices of every market,
Mhm.
right? Literally everything, right? So when you think about that, then then you should start to wake up and be like, okay, which is what I think people are gonna start doing. They're gonna start understanding that, okay, this is why things are so messed up. And then people will take a deeper look into Bitcoin. And I think a lot of people have just written it off completely. And then with that crypto, I think a lot of smart people are gonna start taking a serious look because the cost of doing that went down exponentially with AI in terms of like time,
Mm,
right? Like think about how much time you and I had to invest to be sold on the concept, right? In terms of understanding geopolitics, understanding economics throughout history, all of
right,
these things. I've been studying and researching all the time every day for like 10 years,
right.
right? I could have learned these things in a fraction of the time if I had an AI chatbot.
True.
So these people are probably going to learn about this stuff way faster.
And as soon as there's an actual issue, because that's another thing, Ben, like we've learned these things without it being something that necessarily directly impacted us. Right. Think about how
Fair.
fast Venezuela understood Bitcoin.
Great point, right? How many of these people that are saying something is dumb haven't lived through the pain that makes it valuable?
100%.
Totally.
100%.
Great point.
So yeah, as soon as things start to change and not feeling too great, people can be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your situation changing changes how you see everything else. And I think that a lot of people are pretty ignorant in terms of how their situation can change because it's been good for so long, especially in Canada, in America. Like things have been pretty peachy here for a very long time. And it's not like by the day, I'm seeing it getting less and less like that. And I'm seeing people's behaviors change. So, yeah,
But yeah, so as it stands right now, right, oil prices are gas prices are a lot higher. Oil prices are rising, and people are starting to see a little bit of the crunch. Really not yet, because what happens is what impact does that actually have on the entire supply chain is what people aren't seeing. You
mm,
know, who cares if you go to the gas pump and it's 10, 20% higher? Like I can pay for that. It'll be all right. I travel, I'll cut back on the things that I don't need to do. It's cool. But what ends up happening is that from a business perspective, that 10, 20% hike is going to start shutting businesses down. There's
totally.
only business can only take so much from that. And we're talking about all business,
Because we
right?
live in a just in time economy across the board, right? Everyone's always assuming that everything's going to be arriving on time, just in time, every time.
Facts.
And so a lot of decisions are made and a lot of projections are made, especially when you live in a culture that is so risk tolerant and risk rewarding, that mentality spills into every pocket of everything.
Totally. The first companies that we started to see to react to all of this was USPS and Amazon. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna have to like charge surf fees or whatever to be able to get this to work." Um, So, just as an example of like the logistics companies, right, that are doing
Totally.
all this crazy stuff. When you really think about it, I ordered something on Amazon the other day and it got to me to me, this is still crazy. It gets to me on the same day. Like that's
Yeah, same day
insane.
delivery is absurd, genuinely absurd. Yeah, the logistics that they've achieved is insane, and a lot of that's because of automations and stuff, which
Yeah.
obviously meant a lot of people lost their job, but the end experience is something that keeps people hooked on it, right? People are addicted to that service, which, is obviously not good for the masses, at least right now, but, people do like their experience. One thing that's important that people had asked or talked about in the chat was if you hold your Bitcoin on a centralized exchange, like, why
Mm,
is that not the same as self-custodying the Bitcoin?
okay. Yeah. Well, great question. Um, so Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are assets that you are able to custody on your own. Um, when you think about you go to the bank, you can either have a dollar in your hand and put it on your mattress, or you can leave it at the bank. And so crypto essentially works in a very similar kind of stance as a physical dollar or even a gold bar. And so because of that, you are able to custody it outside of the banking system, which in the banking system, I mean the exchanges, the custodial exchanges. So when you give your crypto or you host your crypto on a custodial exchange, essentially that crypto is not even yours. It's actually
Mhm.
theirs.
It's a lot like, well, even at the bank, when you put your money in there, you now have an IOU, like, your
That's
dollars still
correct.
don't stay in there, so it's, like, a fairly similar concept, and it's not something that we like, so, like, you should probably be aware of that.
100%. And then the added extra piece of this is that your dollar in the bank has guarantees around it.
Mhm,
It has the actual underlying issuer of the dollar, being the Federal Reserve in the United States, will back your dollar. Okay. So as long as you have a real dollar that you're giving to the bank, the Fed will say, yes, you have this dollar. You have the claim on the Fed. But when it comes to crypto, there's no entity that can protect you, really. And so, even if a bank or an exchange or a custodial exchange does something illegal, it doesn't matter. There's no one who can backstop you and say, "Oh, they did something illegal. Here's your Bitcoin."
mm,
No, no, no. It's on chain, right? And once again, no one can change or manipulate what's happening on chain. Whatever happens, happens. So if the crypto exchange takes your crypto and send it to someone else, and then they go bankrupt, your crypto is gone, brother.
yeah, you're shit out of luck,
And that's happened throughout history.
and
So
and so, why would people ever, knowing that that exists, why would do people leave it on centralized exchanges?
yeah, it's a good question. I mean, what I think we've come to realize in crypto is that, well, you need the crypto exchange to exchange, right? It's called an exchange for a reason. And so you exchange there. And depending upon your portfolio, depending upon how you're positioned from your personal finance perspective, you probably wouldn't necessarily leave a whole lot of crypto on an exchange unless you needed it there for it to be exchanged. This came up on a live stream the other day. I was talking to somebody on my live stream, and we were talking about this concept. And I didn't even think about this, but for me, when I travel, I always make sure that I have some of that on an exchange,
Mm,
because I need to know that if I need to make a decision, I'm going to be able to do something about it because I'm not bringing my hardware with me. So you use the hardware wallet for storage, and you use the exchange to exchange.
and there's enough tutorials and whatnot out there on how to do that properly.
For sure, for sure, for
Who
sure.
do you trust in terms of, like, educators, in that space?
Oof. I mean, Andreas Antonopoulos, I don't know how much in depth he goes on
That's
that kind of a
hilarious.
thing.
Self-custody requires reading, LOL.
That's a fact, though.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've had so many conversations. The custody thing is one of the hardest things that people who don't understand, like trying to explain that to them, they're like, "What do you like? What do you mean?" You know. Um, but yeah, it does require some reading to understand custodial versus non-custodial. And then at that point, a lot of people are going to check out. They're like, "Look, I'm just going to give my money to Coinbase and then call it a day."
Because they're not understanding the bigger picture of, like, why this is taking place. They're just more concerned with number go up, buy me more
Exactly.
things, right? Which is totally understandable and fair. That's why a lot of people that are, like, Bitcoiners, they always advocate against that because they, like, "You're gonna get wiped out," is how they basically term it.
And that's why Andreas Antonopoulos is the number one person I would say to try to understand, because he's like a paper wallet guy,
Mhm.
like straight up seed phrase written down on a piece of paper, and that's it.
Wow. Uh, someone said, "Thoughts on BTC sessions?" It's Dre, what's going on?
Yeah.
I think that's a podcast, right?
Yeah, you just sent me one last night from them.
Yeah.
Don't
Their stuff's
don't
pretty
play
good. They have
don't
on,
play them, bro.
pardon?
Don't play with them, bro.
What do you mean?
Don't play with their name, bro. Like, you don't know who that is.
I didn't know which one's which. I watch so many different shows, and a lot of them get, like, clipped up.
No, yeah, they're constantly getting clipped.
Yeah, yeah, that's the show that I was thinking. Their host, I like their host, and they usually have some pretty good people on. So yeah, if you wanna learn more about this stuff, I think that's definitely a decent resource.
Yeah, bro. So yeah, we like them. And then and yeah, so but I love Andreas Antonopoulos. It's straight up OG, straight up proper cypherpunk. And yeah, it's one of the best places to just think about custody and why it matters and all that and so on.
Mhm. Yeah, Dre, I've not watched their educational content, I've only watched their interviews. So
Mm,
I don't know if their, like, courses and whatnot are great, but I'd assume if they're having on the people that are this big in the space, I'm sure they're at least decent.
for sure. For sure. Carl said if you're not a trader, bro, just store it and forget about it. You can do that too, but that's boring, so you don't hear about it much. Yeah. People always want to do something.
Mhm. And sometimes you can just let the chaos ensue around you and take advantage of that through not doing anything.
Like a Zen master.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's like those guys who I don't know a whole lot about this, but like they'll light themselves on fire
What?
and just sit there. It's
That's a
like a
real
it's
thing?
like a monk, like monks.
How do
I don't know.
they like, what? Do they not die?
And they die.
They just decide to go that way?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like a thing, but there's definitely like footage of this happening
Mm.
where you're at peace and you set yourself on fire and you go. And no screaming, no nothing. Like you just but
But
anyways,
I don't know if I wanna be that peaceful,
guys,
man.
don't set yourselves on fire. Don't do that. But but that idea of, letting stuff happen around you. I mean, that's what a lot of things come down to. We're so trained to like do, but there's certain things, especially in finance and money, where it's actually like just relax, don't do anything, and that's
Mhm.
sometimes the best decision to make.
When you know you're right, wait to be proven so. Right? A lot of people were right, but didn't have the balls or the stomach for it, and then they look back and they become the person who always talks about, "Oh, I knew this would happen." It's like, "Yeah, then why didn't you stay in it?"
Yes, and I mean that to me is my biggest. It's probably not super healthy psychologically either, but that's my biggest fear. Is like I knew this the whole time, and then I like switched at the very end. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because everything's a market, right? Which we'll talk about on a future stream. Like, we actually wanna talk about the Pokemon card market in the
Yeah,
coming days. So, Keith, let me know when you can do an evening stream. We're gonna throw that in as an evening one because I think that'll hit more of the people who aren't, like, core crypto people. So, it may make sense to do that one in an evening. So, stay tuned, turn on the notifications so you get notified when we do that. It'll be in the coming few days here on an evening, probably around, what, like 7 o'clock, something like that?
something
Seven
like that.
Cool. But yeah, because everything has a top, like we said, people move markets, and so you can go look at the chart of the different phases of a market cycle, and I'm sure we'll do that for the I was sending Keith some stuff last night about the Pokemon market, and I'm like, "Bro, this thing looks like a top if I've ever seen one." Especially with relatively speaking, right? Because the numbers that I was sharing to you from the YouTube videos that I know is primarily search-based traffic, and I also know that the amount of people searching for education drops by the day because so
Mm,
many people are using either AI or like TikTok or Instagram for that source that they used to only use YouTube for,
that's interesting to think
right?
about.
So the fact that those numbers are that high to
Mm,
me is even bigger of a deal because I know that that's harder to achieve today than it was when I was doing it.
very interesting thought. Yeah. For the stream, I proposed Monday.
Monday?
That's what I proposed.
Okay, that's pretty far away. Um,
That's far away.
yeah, it's Thursday today, right?
Yeah.
So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's 4 days from now. The mar the market could crash.
Oh, well, I mean, we could do it. I could do it Saturday evening.
We could do Sunday too. Do you have plans on Sunday?
Actually, no, I can't do Saturday. What am I talking
Well, then I guess we'll have to do Monday.
about? Friday
Uh,
would work.
Friday? I'm not doing anything Friday besides working, so I could do that then, but we'll figure it out. We'll text.
All right. All
And just make sure you have your notifications on, guys, because this doesn't have a set date. But it's really super interesting because, like, I think that when I'm able to explain this and walk through it, it'll make NFTs click for a lot of people from a market standpoint, right? And then when they understand the lens that I was looking at it through, it was always tied to the overall general collectible market, which people forget is also a market
Why do you think people forget that?
because they don't study money. So people think like the fact that everything comes and goes, people always overreact, right? So like during the time, it's never going to end, and then when it's down, it's never coming back. They say that about things all the time, right? We overreact because the media machine incentivizes that. The more that you're hyperbolic, the more that you're sensationalized, polarizing, etc., the more it spreads.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying? And also, most people have never even seen the concept of a market cycle. Like they've never even heard that explained to them about how the psychology changes during these things and how there are signs in which you can see how this is taking place in real time, right? Where like because you see it, and that's also why I love Sami, your friend Sami guy. Like he is such a I love him because he's got screenshots over the past like 5, 6 years of people saying certain things, so that he doesn't have to just like say this person said that. He like shows the screenshot of being like, look how people were reacting at that time.
Mm,
So it's like
very cool.
it's super super valuable to see that because people do move markets, and also with how these markets are defined, which all or designed, is really what makes the price appreciation, in my opinion, a lot more likely than people think, because they're thinking it has to work like Pokemon, which we'll dive deeper into. But they can print infinite Pokemon cards.
Mm,
You can't do that with an NFT
mm,
for these individual IPs, right? So no, will it ever be as big as Pokemon? None of these IPs, I don't think, will ever be as big as Pokemon. They don't need to be.
right.
There's not that many for sale.
Somebody asked you for some NFT sauce.
Yeah, we'll save that for the episode. We'll definitely touch on it in the Pokemon one, and then we'll probably do a full on episode on that stuff if the market does come back. And then I'll start bringing on all the people that I know in that space to come on, because we can have Luca on from Pudgy, um, Betty from Deadfellas. I didn't give them a shout out last time, but Deadfellas is ripping. They're up like
Word.
close to 100% on the week, something like that. Maybe down to like 60 or 70 now because there has been a bit of a sell off. But that's how quickly prices can move, because let's say the collection of Deadfellows, there's 10,000 of them, but they have like 6,000 unique holders. So most people only have one. And so it's hard to let go of something that is your best asset.
That space.
It's also, I think if you were to come from an outsider, people would probably be shocked that he did in the way that he did, right? Because people don't think that he would be an NFT collector,
Right. I
right?
wouldn't.
That shows you that like it's a lot more of a thing than people realize.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
I'm just laughing at the crazy stuff people were saying on Twitter, man,
about him?
about Santiago. Yeah.
People just love to get so freaking angry, and it makes sense because everyone's made a bet within crypto, right? They've all put their claim on like, this is my bet, and I don't get why we all tear each other down, because we should just make one of them win, because once one of them wins, it spills over. You know what I'm
For
saying? Like
sure.
I don't get why we try to tear each other down. It's actually the dumbest shit ever. We should be like cheering on, respect the pump. You know what I mean? Get everyone going.
For sure, man. Um, Man, I'm sorry, but the XRP people, man, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's just such a large army of people
Bro.
that it's like that. But I don't know if there's any more toxic of a community that I've ever seen, bro.
Yeah, that's why when we first met and we talked about XRP and stuff, I was talking about it through the social part of it, right? Which was my opinion on it, because I saw who they attracted, and it was a very consistent viewer profile. And so none of this stuff that we get hate on our XRP posts surprises me all that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting, man, because those posts always still do so well. You know what I mean? Like they get a lot of traction,
Yeah,
whether
because
it's
people
pro
are
or negative.
yeah, it's because it's so polarizing, right? And truthfully, why also the show is very important is because most of these crypto communities have become pretty small. Like they're very loyal, but they're small. But people would come rushing back if there was reasons to, right? Like if
Mm,
think about how many people are sitting on wallets with NFTs in them or a little bit of crypto, that if the markets came back, they all come back and start consuming the content too.
no doubt. No doubt about that. I haven't even thought about that because like yeah, like all of the super deep communities in the crypto world that have been hollowed out. I mean, but those people still have the knowledge. They still have the thing. They just lost the faith or the,
Yeah.
the interest.
And they'll come back and they'll be the biggest spreaders and believers of it when it changes their financial situation really quickly. And also, guys, another like alpha thing is that look at what other builders building things in Web3, like if you listen to them talk on conversations, you can loosely see how they're investing. And so then if they if what they're investing in you really think is going to work, chances are they have way more of it than you do. So when it goes up, they now have way more resources to play with.
Mm,
That's like one of my biggest investment criteria is I'll listen to be like, what is this person holding? How rich is this person going to get when this happens?
mm,
And then where do they use those resources? Do you know what I'm
right,
saying?
right. No, certainly. Carlton Way once said the XRP Army should have a documentary. It would be entertaining.
We want to do we want to do shit like that. Like I
Sure.
would love to. Why don't we just fucking do that, man? The next thing that we should do is like create that series, man. When we have the cash, get someone who can actually make like a Netflix level series for each of the cults,
Mm.
like the XRP cult. Like that would slap, dude. I hope we get to do it and someone doesn't take my idea who has more money than me. But so let's get this shit rolling so we can do that because that'd be freaking awesome. We're gonna try to do
Yeah.
it in like a podcasty way where we actually I was telling the guys last night. He said there is one. Okay.
There's a lot of like documentaries in the crypto space, but I don't know if it's from the outside looking
Mhm.
in. You know what I mean? I think it's
Yes.
like
That's what I would
them
want to do.
telling their stories more.
Yes, yes. And we want to have on basically like the story of for like each of the top 10 projects. So if you guys can think of anybody that you think would be a great person to share the story of what created that cult, definitely let us know in the comments. We would love to have someone on who's going to explain the bull case for all of them. Go ahead.
So I was talking to Ben last night. I was trying to get John Deaton on. So if you guys know John Deaton at all, reach out to him. Tell him we'd love to have him on. I think he's also like running for Senate or something right now. Um, but John Deaton, he was critical throughout the time of the lawsuit for anybody who was actually around. Which I guess there's also so many XRP people who were not around for any of that. But
Yeah, XRP's recruited a lot of people over the last few years too.
yeah, yeah,
Like
TikTok finance.
yes, yes. Very, very true. But, yeah, that'll be fun. Those are future episodes, so if you're watching the replay, let us know who we should have on who was, like, the face of those movements, right? For, like, even, like, Pepe, like, if there's somebody in there who's a pusher of that message and that story, that'd be super cool.
Certainly. He said, "When is your friend Somi coming on?"
I've messaged him so many times, bro. He doesn't reply. I actually, I was trying to get him to come on and talk about the Pokemon thing because he's the only other person on the internet who's been talking about that in terms of its relation to crypto. Remember when I mentioned that
Mm,
like months ago?
mm,
Him and I are on a similar wavelength that way. Like he spots shit early like I do because we study people at scale, right? So we're not emotionally attached to any of this shit. So we're able to be a lot more objective. Pure objectivity is impossible, but we're able to be a lot more so. And that gives us a very big advantage in terms of reading the market
mm,
because we don't listen to our feelings. We look at people say it, right? And most people in the world are a victim to their own emotions. Whatever they feel, they do, right? So like people would say, like, "Oh, I can control my emotions." No, you can't. Like especially the internet has taken that ability from the majority of the planet. So they're saying what they feel. They tell you.
yeah, dude, there's a lot of craziness going on with people on the internet these days. But totally, 100%. I'm seeing some comments here.
Yeah. Did you have anything else on the petrodollar stuff, oil stuff?
Not too much. I mean, the major thing is the situation is simply not resolved. This week, Trump has said that they're planning to extend the blockade and to find ways to uh, potentially start strikes against them, against Iran, to get them to try to open up their side of the blockade. And so, yeah, just businesses are eventually going to feel the impact of this. Farmers in the United States are going to be the first ones to probably like where that shows up in real life,
Mhm.
at least the most significant one. Um, and then, my hope is that this gets resolved.
Yeah.
But I don't know, dude.
Yeah, Simon Dixon thinks that this is all just theater, and he thinks that the new world order has already been set, and this is just the best way to facilitate that transition. Right? And
Right.
if crypto is a big story, then it makes sense why like Iran would be having that as at like the forefront of this, or even we would be being told it's at the forefront of this, right? Because then maybe their inclusion at the table at the world leaders makes sense after the fact, right? If you
Mm,
transition to more of a crypto-based system, like how are they able to just go from this to that, this situation, right?
sure. Sure. Um, And so the one thing that I did find this morning that was interesting is that I've talked about Enbridge. Uh,
Like the company?
no, it's a project that the Bank for International Settlement started, um, like 2021, 2020, whatever, for central bank digital currency interoperability.
Mm,
And the BIS in 2024, they dropped out of that, right? So they basically saw what was happening, which was that China was about to use the system as a way to get around US sanctions and power.
mhm.
And they were like, "Oh, well, we can't be responsible for that. So we're going to create another project. And this one will be with all of the other countries that are not China." And so China, with the Enbridge, I learned this morning, they've actually continued on with it and have gotten
Mm,
to the point where there's over $50 billion in transactions that have been done over it. And that's alongside of the fact that they have their own central bank digital currency that has processed over $2 trillion.
dang.
Um,
Yeah, it's going on in the background, man. Like, Canada, someone sent me this on Instagram, and they asked us to cover it, and I totally brain farted on that because we've got so many things going on. But, Canada processed this massive, I think it was a bond
mhm.
something through stable coins, and, like, no one in Canada is talking about that.
Yep, yep, I
We're
did see
still obsessed with Trump.
that. Yeah, man. So on the institutional side and on the central bank side, this stuff continues to go on. Project Agora is the one that is continuing on with the Bank for International Settlements and so
Mhm,
on. And so I bring that up just to say that uh, these moments, right, where there's a shift in the balance of power, shift in the way that the money is moving around, these central bank digital currencies and the cross-border nature of them, we won't have to hear about CBDCs and stuff. Like the central banks themselves can settle international payments with each other using CBDCs. We won't be it's called a wholesale CBDC versus a retail CBDC. So you won't even necessarily see it if you get that becoming a reality. And all the like theater around, oh, we'll never allow a CBDC, this and that. That's all in terms of a retail CBDC.
that's a very important distinction.
Yes, because there's also opportunities around this concept of a wholesale CBDC to make money,
Mm,
to invest in projects and opportunities around that. So,
interesting. Yeah, people should do their own research beyond there.
for sure.
Doing that for
Uh,
show.
for sure.
Didn't you talk to Lucy about this stuff on a recent video?
Yeah. I mean, it's really my main thesis for crypto is what the Bank for International Settlements is doing
Mhm.
and how that's going to be implemented. And like there's simply organizations that are a part of that that are in crypto that if you do the reading, it's there. It's right
Mhm.
there in your face.
Yeah, same with here in Canada as Bill, is suggesting that, like, yeah, Canada doesn't try to hide shit, bro. Like, as they make these change, they full on they'll ship it out to people, but they always find a very good altruistic headline to mask it in.
Yeah, I saw this. I put in one of my most recent videos about like the digital ID thing. There's this guy in Australia on Sky News, I think. He was just ripping that like he on
For or
TV
against?
against it all. And like he's
Wow.
like everything that we would say here about it, like
He's
he was
saying?
saying it on TV.
That's awesome.
He's
See,
like, this is the World Economic Forum. Like, this is what they're trying to do.
I don't think that I don't think the news broadcasting companies here would ever have someone who would potentially do that on their program.
For sure. Th- That's why, like, it was at some point in like 2016 or something. I found Sky News and I was like, they're kind of based. Like,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of their 'cause they definitely sometimes go, like, too hard in the paint,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was like, man, these Australians, they'll say it. Like,
Yeah, that is their culture a lot more. They're not as sensitive. Like, here in Canada, if you say anything that gets people's opinions or, like, feelings hurt, you are the devil. So, that's why thought is basically dead here.
right. Yeah, super.
But I was mentioning this to you about how I've been doing, like, sentiment analysis at the gym and in the
Oh,
sauna.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Tell
Bro,
us about it.
it's truly fascinating, right? Because whenever I watch the media here, it seems like everyone's bought into the liberal agenda, but I've been speaking to, like, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people, and they all see what's going on.
Fascinating.
So it makes me think, like, are we actually as cooked as they make it sound like we are, or do they know we're not? And that's why they're
Mm.
pushing this so hard.
Mm,
Do you know what I'm
mm,
saying?
right.
We'll see. I don't know shit, but, like, it's even gone further to when I'm in, like, gas stations and stuff, and, like, they know about this stuff too, and I'm like, "Okay, so then what is the real picture?" You know what I'm saying?
Right. I was gonna say, yeah, the sauna might be a politically leaning place to be.
You think it skews to the right?
Yep.
Really?
No, I'm just making that up, but
Definitely could, but I feel like it's difficult that's a difficult thing to do in Canada because we're so liberal.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Um, but also here, if you're not super left, you're considered right wing here
Right.
because we're so far down that joint where what's normalized as like left wing ideology is a lot more extreme than it would have been even 10, 15 years ago. The goalposts have just moved so much
Mhm.
that people have not been paying attention because they're living in the moment all the time, and so they don't like look back at like look how far the goalpost has been moved. Um, great questions in the chat. What does retirement look like for you? I don't think I'll ever retire. So it looks like this. I love shooting the shit, man. I love learning from people and I love building things that help improve people's lives. That's what I'm obsessed with. I don't know if I'll ever stop doing that. I'll definitely like I want to empower more people to build awesome shit. Whether that's
Mm.
either directly if I'm working with them and partnering with them, or if that's through our content that helps people for free. Both those things make me super excited. What would retirement look like for you, Keith?
No, I think that thing that you said towards the end there is a big thing. I've always just wanted to be able to just be an investor. You know what I mean? Just kind of like help people live out their dreams and also building stuff for people that doesn't necessarily have to be for profit.
Mhm.
Trying to help people learn, educate, get out of poverty.
Yes. That
But
stuff's awesome. I really, really, really wanna get so big and successful that I can, like, screw with people who think they're unscrewable with.
oh, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. I don't want to do any of that.
Not in a bad way, but, like, a lot of like, there's a lot of systems that if you look at them, the people who have all the leverage are really taking advantage of the situation too much. If those dynamics change a little bit and then sentiment changes around, like, their supporters, those things can change pretty dramatically. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I'm not saying, like, beefing anyone. I'm just saying, like, I don't think you need to anymore. I think that the more that the public gets educated, it's just educating people on, like, why the system is broken and how it could be changed, is more so what I'm saying.
right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't think you need to, like, attack anyone at all. Just be like, "Hey, I don't think this makes sense. I'm willing to, like, take less on this to fix the system," and then everyone else has to follow suit to a degree.
No, I
That
see what you
that's more
mean.
so what I mean.
Totally. And then Lawrence Israel said, Ben, your fumble on that great bar today reminded me about Keith's fumble on eschatology. They're both the same concept. Talk about this because that's actually an interesting thought. I think I see what you're saying because what I was saying at that time about eschatology is like, well, if people believe this, then they're gonna take the actions toward it,
Mhm.
and then obviously everyone's gonna react to all of that.
Yeah, perception creates reality. So if you dictate perception, you create reality. You perform alchemy, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
interesting thought
this is
there
what I
for
say all the
sure.
time, man. I actually had a video about this because so many people are always like, "Ben, you work too much. You work too much." It's like play. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of fun, and I think that no one's ever really had that. And I think that I'm very hopeful that AI in the positive scenario will just allow so many more people to be doing shit they like. And I talked about this before, but, like, that's why I taught everyone how to do social media for free on my channel for so long, and I everyone's pushing me to sell a course. All of the people that I competed with sold courses and literally made millions of dollars. And I didn't do it because 'cause I'm like, "I don't know, man, like, I learned this shit for free. I want people to have the opportunity to learn this shit for free." And maybe that was a limiting belief, and I could have packaged it and sold it, and maybe that would have been the more empathetic thing to do, but I just thought about me on the other side and how much I would have appreciated someone helping me for free. I paid, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars for courses. I paid more for courses outside of university than I did for university.
Wow.
Way more, because I saw the value in what it meant. So, like, that's why I'll eventually just do, like, one-on-one consultations for obscene amounts of money, like, eventually for the custom tailored stuff, but I do really wanna make sure that if you actually give a shit, you can learn for free.
Wow. What's the most that you think you spent on like a course outside of
Twen
university?
like 20 Gs?
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was it to learn about or
It
for?
it was a combination of a few different things, but it was like operational stuff from and the shitty thing is by the time I got to the end of it, like, every course that I was consuming, I could have made. But but I wanted to make sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I was obsessed with learning and then implementing it as soon as possible because I also saw the leverage that could come from knowing one different thing in combination with everything else that I know,
100%.
right? That's where it became so valuable. So, it was a social media businessy course. It was more so like yeah, it was like a full on, like, program. I didn't even fully go through it because 'cause I'm like, "I coulda made this," but, at least it made me more motivated to go do shit.
For sure. I've talked to some people around that concept of investing in your education, especially if you can see, right, that the people that you're buying it from are doing the thing,
What do you
then
mean by
you're
that?
like, if you bought that course from someone who had millions and millions of followers
Yeah.
and there was organic and they did it properly,
Mhm.
then it's like, okay, I'm paying 20 grand. Even if I do have, even if I already know everything,
Mhm.
now I know that this is the right thing to do. And this is what I should double down on. And now I have the confidence to
Yeah.
go and do it.
And that's really what I think that I was paying for because I was always confident in my abilities, but it is kind of, like, mentally distorting to realize that you literally can just know stuff that can change your situation. Like, that's kind of a hard thing to realize that you can also just pull that. We've also been taught that anything valuable has to come from an approved source. And
Mhm.
so, like, I was definitely better at overcoming that a little bit, which is why I started earlier, but I still had that too,
Mhm.
right? So I'm, like, paying for these courses to be like, "Okay," because I didn't look up to any of my professors, like, maybe some of them, but, like, a lot of them, I would never have wanted to trade places with them, so I legit did nothing in school. Like, I didn't listen to anything they said, and I was just there to keep my dad happy, and then I would teach myself at night these my own stuff. And, from them, I really respected, and I saw what they could do. And so, yeah, it was worth every penny, but I was laughing at Carl's thing here, where they said, "How much would that 20K be worth if you had put it in an index fund?" Probably a fair amount, but in terms of my earning power that that approach to education gave to me a way higher return than an index fund ever would.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking on my channel not too long ago about like people were like, if I had $5,000, what do I do with it? I'm like, brother, put that on yourself.
Because, guys, if you make your first dollar online, your brain rewires. It's the craziest shit. Like there's like levels to this stuff, right? First, what you need to do, go make your first dollar on your own. It can be whatever. It can be literally whatever. Go walk a dog. Go clean someone's house. Go paint something for them. Whatever it is, that unlocks part of the game.
Mm.
Then when you do that shit online, different equation. Because then you realize when I learn this shit, this stuff is so high leverage that the good people win so disproportionately that the opportunity cost of not being good is absurd. Like truly absurd.
Right. Right. I didn't even think about, and I guess it makes sense with your story as well. The just earning a dollar on your own, anyways, because that is also something that just happened way earlier in life for me. Like I didn't think about that.
Yes.
Um, but that definitely also influences the way that you move through the world.
You start seeing opportunities everywhere where no one else is paying attention. Right? Like when I was making my first dollars for myself at like 6, 7 years old, 6, 7. Um, I'm brain rotted. Then from there on forward, that became part of the game that I had access to that no one else around me did. So I've been getting reps on the board since I was 6 years old.
That's a wild one. That's a wild one for sure. Yeah, man.
But and yeah, you had that as well, right? Where you weren't looking for that approval. So like so many people that I talk to, even they have awesome ideas, but they've never like the stakes around them actually pursuing their idea for the first time is perceptively so high because so many times they just didn't go for it. Right? So then now you're actually creating more anticipation for when you actually try, and you're putting more and more pressure on yourself. Whereas I just got so many fails out there, I just didn't care. That's why, like, and you're like this as well. You're just like, okay, idea, go. Because if it doesn't work, who gives a shit? I'll try a new one tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're online too, man, the social cost can be a lot lower.
Oh, almost zero, free. Like people don't even see it unless it works. If it doesn't work, delete the shit. Who cares? Move on. Like that's honestly was one of the hardest things because I've taught almost everyone in my life to start making money online, and it was a painstaking process, and it was almost all because of mental hurdles. Because I gave them the exact criteria. I was like, "Do this, do this, do this," like a checklist, and they still wouldn't do it because of these boxes that they've been put in psychologically. So that was the hardest shit to break down, and one thing that is like, why I think this transition could be smoother than people think is that these tools do make all of that stuff, like, so much easier. You know what I mean? Like, I gave the example of my buddy all the time who's built this landscaping business. Him and I have been talking about that whenever we get drunk for, like, literally 10 years, right? He'd be like, "I wanna start my own business, but I don't think I can do all these things." He had these mental hurdles, right? And even though I gave him exactly what ChatGPT was saying, he couldn't get it answered in the way he needed it answered.
Mm,
Whereas now all
mm,
these people can, right? So whatever you guys have for an idea to make money from, where did you get stuck before? And use these tools to help you get through that. I talk about that all the time. Yeah,
super
if you had the
real.
knowledge back then, from now back then, of course, right? But hindsight's 2020. Of course, that's what they're saying in the chat too.
Mhm, mhm.
Moved out
Yeah,
at
man.
16 years old, what a sale. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Good
wild.
for you. That's ballsy. I moved out at 16 years old, so I learned everything the best way by doing it and did every job I could to learn.
Mm.
16 is that's like scary. I would have been dead if I tried to do that at 16.
Facts. Yeah, I was not, didn't have stuff figured out, let me tell you that. But,
No. Uh, Anything else in the chat, or do you want to switch to the second half here shortly?
definitely can move forward here. Only failure is giving up. Totally. Any nuggets from XRP Las Vegas? We'll talk on some of that in the second half.
Cool. What
And
would
then
be what would be a prospect in the long run, 10 to 20 years out? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by this question, but if you do want to get ahead, like, in life, it's just about being obsessed with where the puck is going before it gets there, because then you're gonna have a unique advantage, and that way you're not fighting a lot of these systemic issues where gatekeepers stop the best people from winning. And that's really where we are across the board, is that most of these systems suck because people suck who are running them at this point. Like, they're not the best people. They're not skilled. They're not talented. Like, if we had really good people in a lot of these positions, I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm sure there are some really good ones, but a lot of people are incredibly incompetent in these positions of power.
totally.
Like, you can see it. You're like, that guy in a truly free market trying to compete on a business would get his ass kicked. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but yet they have like a guaranteed cheat code towards doing this stuff in the controlled and setting because they're closer to the rule maker.
Yep. That's a fact, man. Um, how do
I
you
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I see Jay here on keep talking about King Charles. I've seen nothing about that, so I can't speak on it.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't look too deep into it, but I just saw like the two kings thing, which I thought was kind of funny. Or just crazy, I guess, more than funny, but
Got it.
another go
I
ahead.
see what Day's saying here. So everyone's talking about crypto and AI right now. What is the thing that no one's talking about yet? Oof. You probably got to go to people younger than me to find that, to be honest. Because like we saw this coming, and like I'll probably never be able to be this early on something this technologically that changes like this because my hunger was so there, right? Like why? Like at the current moment, Gary Vee was a big inspiration for me, but I'm closer to the game than he is. Like I actually probably know this stuff better than he does, which would shock a lot of people, but it's probably true because I needed it more than him. He's had the curse of success. The more successful you become, the farther you get away from the people that are actually the culture, right? And so he's still really good at that, so he's less impacted than most, but that does really matter. So like when Keith's like how do we decide like how fast we want to move, all this shit, we were going back and forth. I was just like we'll never be as close to everyone we're trying to help as we are right now. So like you got to try to go for every idea as fast as you can because also it's a pivotal change. But to answer your question, I would like study the kids, man. I would like try to go see. That sounds bad, but like go to TikTok, you know what I'm saying, and see like what are the builders that are super young talking about that older people aren't. Right? Like when I started, why did I start Instagram theme pages and stuff like that? Is because there were people my age that were making serious money at the time using social media.
Right.
And typically, if you're really young, you have to go to the only places where they will give you an opportunity, where you can create your own.
Yeah. Um, from a technological perspective, I wouldn't be able to say,
It's hard. I think
but
I think Web3 is still super slept on.
true. But from like a what to do with your time and life perspective, I think it's still what Gary Vee was saying. I think it's
What
still this. I think it's still
content?
storytelling.
Yeah. Oh, storytelling is universal,
Yeah.
right? Because even if we end up in an analog world where everyone hates tech and we're all in audiences, right? Like that's still the same thing. So yeah,
Yep.
I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yep. Yep. It's super like all the stuff that's going on there. Done. It's like actually the thing you should be looking at is like the thing that you're on every day, right? You're spending all your time on these social media platforms. It's like
Mhm.
that's the thing that's not going to slow down.
No,
Um,
it's it's
yeah.
fascinating to watch as someone who's been on it for a fairly long time for a business use case because most of the people that were on it were like entertainment focused, right? If you think of the creators that you remember with nostalgia, they were they were entertainment. Because entertainment is easier to get a lot of eyeballs, right? But they're a fickle audience in nature. That's why people typically burn out. Whereas why did I go down the business route? I originally started more like entertainment focused, and I'm just like, this isn't me. And I also want to play this game for like 40 years, so I can't do it through entertainment.
Mm,
And so then that's why I shifted towards like the value focus of giving people education and trying to build relationships that way. And that's why I replied to like thousands of DMs whenever people had a question for free. Because I think eventually when the show blows up, there'll be people who remember that shit,
mm,
right? Who come in here and anybody who tries to like hate on me, which is going to be inevitable, but like there will be people coming out of the woodwork being like, Ben send me a 3 minute voice note or whatever when he didn't even know who I was,
right.
right? Like I've tried to help people for that whole time and I made nothing for it. In fact, I even got like shit on it a lot of times, right? So it is what it is.
I was gonna say I was watching No Jumper, 21 Jumper. What is it called? I forgot
I
already.
think it's No Jumper.
No Jumper with Adam, and he had on Deshaun Raw. I
Okay.
think it was like a month ago now or
Who's
a few
that?
months ago. The I'm not a rapper guy. Do you remember that?
Of course I do.
Super Hot Fire.
Yeah.
And so he's finally doing some like actual interviews or whatever. And I was just listening to him speak because it's like he was there. You're talking like 2012 or whatever.
True. You
Like,
probably got to see it all.
bro, he's seen the whole thing evolve.
That's so cool.
And he was just talking about that. And I'm like looking at the people that he was watching at that time. There's some other dude who's been out there for just like the whole like 16 years and he's still posting content. But it
Wow.
was like that like reaction style content, like those big reaction YouTubers that you see today too.
Yep.
And it's just so wild to think about how this has changed for like, yeah, it was just pure entertainment. Like that's what he was. He was just like
Mhm.
the funny guy on the internet. And now it's like I'm watching Callaway yesterday, and he just put out a really cool video about what he thinks is the future of social media. And he's taken this idea. So we went from like how I did it in my head was like social media to social media. Okay. To where first it was about your friends, and now it's like just media, it's just content.
Yep.
And then that third wave he says is social commerce, where he's pointing out the fact that he's is seeing where you're on YouTube. You got TikTok Shop already. Instagram Shop apparently just launched.
Yep. I heard about that.
YouTube, imagine you get to the point to where you can just click on your shirt bin and I can
Wow.
buy that thing
Oh,
right there.
totally.
And so what his point was is that this is the skill that you not the skill of getting a bunch of followers, but the skill of actually being able to distribute content and actually get in front of people is going to be way easier to monetize because the tools are going to come
Tools
into
was yeah.
place
Mhm.
to make that possible,
Yes.
right? Even what we're trying to do.
'Cause it as someone who was using these tools for a long time, whenever it was always obvious to me how I would grow Instagram or YouTube's business. I was like, "This is glaringly obvious. Like, why aren't they doing this?" And it was like a lot of it was a cost perspective in terms of it was just harder to develop things. That's not really a part of the equation anymore. So,
Exactly.
like, if you think about whoever has the network effect, like, they're gonna capture, like, all of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because but I think they are a little greedy in terms of the percentages that they're taking, in some instances, and so that does give people an opportunity to maybe make a new platform to come in and compete with that, but all the tools will be there. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm,
So yeah, it's gonna be super fascinating to see. Also with, like, courses and stuff like that, or, like, school. Like,
mhm,
if YouTube can make a school competitor tomorrow within the platform,
mhm,
and that shit would
mhm.
crush.
True, and they definitely started, right? They've launched their little courses thing, but it's not
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Um, and even down to the manufacturers, guys. Like, I mean, I remember being in Miami and the concept of a ghost kitchen,
Oh, those were huge for a little bit.
yeah, started to catch on, and I'm like, ooh, that's an interesting thought, right? You just spin up the brand. If people like the brand, then they eat from there. But it's the same
Yes.
kitchen as everybody else's stuff, anyways.
Fascinating. So fascinating. And it's also probably why Uber Eats has become so crap. But Ray William Johnson, Bring Back Equals 3. Did you ever watch Ray William Johnson's back in the day?
I think that's exactly who the guy was. Actually, hold on, hold on.
Dude, I used to watch Equals 3 every day, or whenever
Yep,
he released it.
that's the guy that Deshaun Raw was talking about.
No way. Yeah, he was like the first reaction guy for the internet.
That's crazy.
He aggregated all of the funniest shit on the internet for a specific type of humor, and he would react to it. All of
Word.
my friends who liked YouTube also watched it. Equals 3. Equals 3. Like, we would watch that stuff. It was so good.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he's still pushing, man.
he does. He has a unique style now where he does, like, these animated videos where, like, he does, like, these AI pictures and he tells a story. Whoops.
Mm,
He's a very good storyteller.
heard. Yeah, I mean, he's still getting hundreds of thousands of views on every video, and he's posting every day.
Well, he also has the huge impact of think about how many people he's nostalgia for.
Mm,
Think about that from a hook perspective, right? Why is Pokemon so relevant? Because of the constant nostalgic force that Pokemon gets to be with every generation that their game that gets released, right? Because as a Pokemon fan myself, naturally, if I have kids, that's the show I'm going to turn on if it's safe for my kids to watch,
true. That's
right?
true.
So that happens there all the time. And so obviously they're in a whole IP business. So like that's why we're seeing like a whole built upon around market. But from like a just a solo business creator, his face is really, really valuable. I thought of the marketing strategy for my book last night, Keith. It's gonna slap.
Word.
It's gonna freaking slap, dude. When I came up with it, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, let's go. I cooked here.
That's hype. That's
Yeah,
hype,
man. I'm
man.
excited to share that with you.
Yes, sir. But
But
yeah.
yeah, so who did you watch then? Like, if you didn't see Ray William Johnson, like, who was your first YouTube experience?
I mean, when I was watching that last night, I was thinking about him,
You did
Deshaun
watch it.
Raw
Okay.
with Super Hot Fire, but also he mentioned Timothy De La Ghetto. I don't know if you remember him.
No.
He was like a comedian back then.
Cool.
Um,
Cool name.
and then and Dormtainment he mentioned, I'm pretty sure. Like I watched that stuff and that was crazy. They did like these skits. Like right now, I bet it's so not funny, but
At the time, it was.
yeah, it was. And there was the Fly Guys and Izara and all of that. And she was one of the first people that I saw go from being a YouTuber to
Mhm.
being like a straight up actual actor.
Got it.
And that changed everything. She had a series called Awkward Black Girl.
Mm.
And that just I just remember that was the beginning of that wave because then that turned into a whole thing, the YouTube to TV, Hollywood rather sort
Yeah.
of pipeline.
And it's also evolved for every type of media, right? Like Candace Owens is probably one of the biggest names on the internet, and she started just like her solo YouTube videos,
Right.
which is pretty insane.
Um,
But that's super cool,
Flight,
man. That's
Flight
awesome.
Reacts. I actually don't know Flight React. Like I've seen his face. His face is super famous, but I don't know him like that.
So just ask. The target audience for the book is honestly like the masses, anybody who's curious, to be honest. And I think I've structured a way where I can write it, where I can give a lot of information, but the story will be good enough that anybody could listen to it, or sorry, or read it. So yeah, I'll be working on that in the coming months. I want to have that done in like the next 3 to 6 months.
Heck yeah, man. Um,
Do you want to
cool.
jump into the second half?
Yep.
And we will soon have really cool breakups of the show.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. But for right now, let's move into the second half.
I've got some news.
Hit me with the news, Keith.
So, yesterday was the last day of Jerome Powell in the Federal Reserve. He actually had a little funny moment up there on the stand as well. Excuse me. This is his last press conference
Got
at
it.
the
You
Federal Reserve.
you streamed this, right?
I did. I streamed it.
Got it.
Thank you very much, everyone. I won't see you next time.
Aw,
Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy moment there for him. So the end of an era. He was there for 8 years.
pretty long time.
It's a very long time, man, to be doing that job, especially with. Never mind.
Yeah, that guy's dealt with some stress.
He's dealt with it all, man. Next piece, Alex Mashinsky, the founder of a crypto platform called Celsius, has been banned for life from crypto. A U.S. judge approved an FTC settlement permanently barring Mashinsky from promoting or marketing crypto products. He also must pay a $10 million fine with a suspended $4 billion judgment that can be reinstated if he misrepresents his finances.
Wow.
Now, from what I understood, this dude was in prison as well. I don't know. Maybe I'm. Yeah, I mean, he got sentenced to 12 years for fraud and market manipulation last year. So I don't know how that's all playing out. But I don't know if those fines are the biggest of his worries. Yeah, he's currently serving a 12-year prison sentence. Oh my
Wow.
goodness, dude. That's crazy, bro.
For financial crimes too, that's
Yeah.
you have to do some wild like numbers.
They made a statement on that guy. Cause dang, bro. But yeah, that was a crazy era. FTX era, right? And 12 years, man. 12 years is crazy.
So ridiculous.
But he screwed a lot of people, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't talk for those people. I don't know what they've been impacted. It's easier for me to say from the outside that that's a lot. But also one thing that's related to that the whole Sam Bankman-Fried shit. Have you seen how his portfolio, like what it would be worth today?
Oh yeah, I was seeing some of that.
That's tough.
Yeah, guys, don't break the law. It's not worth it. Let me
No.
tell you, especially if you're smart. Just don't do it. Just in, Meta launches crypto stablecoin payouts for creators, ladies and gentlemen. How do you feel about that? That's pretty cool, right?
That's wild. That's gonna bring if I could think of a platform that is like normie land, it's that, dude.
Facts, man. Facts. I'm just really thinking, man, like we got to think about the way that social media has continued to evolve. Like there's so many people, like I don't use Instagram, right? Like I don't use Instagram in the way that it was originally being used. Like, yeah, as a kid I did, but then I was like, oh, this is dumb. Why am I doing this?
How early did you figure that out?
2019, I think. I was in college and I was like, this is really dumb. What am I
That's
doing?
awesome. Yeah, I didn't even I had it in high school, but I literally never used it. And then as soon as I stopped playing football and went full on entrepreneurship, then I used it as like a tool to grow shit.
Nice.
And that changed how I viewed all these platforms in a very big way. But that's super awesome that you saw that so early on because a lot of people's like mental health and trauma is because of that
Oh my
shit.
goodness, dude. For sure, bro. And like I used it and that was when it really hit. I was like, dude, this is like messing up my head. Like I need to get rid of this.
Oh, it's bad. Like even one of our products, like I told you, the how to find people who unfollowed you. Like
Yeah.
as I was making these videos and people were like, I was trying to help people grow. People were obsessed about who's unfollowing them, and they kept using these apps that were scams. So then they're like how can you do this without getting banned? And then I made it a way, and then I built an app. And even when I advertised that app, I'm like, you shouldn't want this information. like there's no need to want this, but at least if you do want this, you can do it like this, and you won't get hacked, and you won't lose your account.
Right.
So that's why I only really do search-based advertising for that business because I don't think you should even want to use it.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. A very interesting concept there. Yeah, dude, especially so late into the game, man. It's just so interesting, bro, that people are still using it in that way. But yeah,
And they
so
are. The
it's
support
hard.
emails that we get is like makes it evidently clear that they're using it like that.
That's crazy, man. Because yeah, the meta thing just made me think to like, it just gives me this image like, dude, everyone is going to start making content. And there was this guy that I met when I was traveling, and he's like posting stuff on his Instagram story. And it's like these like legit stories of him like traveling and like having nowhere to stay and like all this. I'm like, dude, like you should post this to YouTube.
It would be fire content, but they don't know how to do it.
That's probably what it is, and he just, like, kind of ignored me, and I was like, "Dude, seriously, post this to YouTube," and he just ignored me, and I'm like, "Bro, like, you're already posting it. Like, just post it to YouTube. I'm not asking you to, like, be egotistic." I think that was
Yeah.
he's like, I'm about a YouTube." Like, "Bro, you're posting it on Instagram, like, post it
What's
on
the difference?
YouTube."
That's there's so many amazing creators and business people that could potentially exist, but they don't know these little things. Like,
Mhm.
and because they're so high leverage, if you are a good storyteller, a little bit of strategy changes the entire equation. So good for you for telling him that stuff. I push him on that if you know him.
Yeah, dude, because I was just like, brother, like, it's not even about you. Like, honestly, like, these stories are so inspiring. And if you just
Yes.
show people that this is real life, like, bro, like, that changes someone else's life, you know?
Totally. That's why whenever people are posting good shit, I'll always help them for free. Like, if they're my
Mhm.
friend. Like,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
had to cap that eventually because I was getting so many DMs back in the day, but if it's my friend, like, I've helped so many people that are now run full online businesses that I just helped because I was like, "I want more people to see this." Like, I have one buddy who is like a breathwork coach,
Mm.
and he does, like, these one-on-one sessions, and so I worked with him until he blew his stuff up. Now he runs a full online business, does these retreats and stuff. Super cool.
Super, super cool, dude. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, he's shout out to him, and Jack is his name. Jack, he
Jack,
goes by the fuck, what's his handle? I should really know this. The Wholesome Guide, I think it is.
wholesome guy. That's a good name if that's what it is.
Let's see. Yeah, it is The Wholesome Guide. Go show him some
Word.
love.
That's awesome, man. Um, so yeah, so stable coins coming to the repertoire. Next piece, US oil exports just hit a record of 6.4 million barrels per day, according to the Bloomberg terminal. I think this is representative of the fact that, well, oil is getting choked off in other parts of the world, and there's got to be an escape valve.
Mhm.
Where are people getting their oil from? They're getting it from the US of A. And
Bruh.
maybe that's part of the plan here.
The master plan, the 5D chess move.
The 5D chess. Next piece. Apparently, Switzerland is about to vote on capping its population at 10 million.
Bro, can you vote on that? Is that real?
I think it's real, man. Um, so I don't know how that would work exactly. I guess like it's more about the importing. I can't come up with the word immigration more than like I don't know
Natural
what they're gonna.
growth.
Yeah, just gonna start sawing people's heads off. I don't know. I don't
Well,
think so.
I think a lot of countries around the world are experiencing the pain of immigration done incorrectly. I think a lot of
Mm,
politicians that try to solve economic problems, they grossly underestimate how unique people are. Like, you can't plug and play us into different spaces and expect the same outcome. You just can't do it.
right.
And I think that people are feeling the pain of that. And it's, bro, unless you like run your own business, you don't really see that kind of stuff, right? About how like, yeah, but it'll be interesting. That'll probably get a lot of support.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've watched their neighbors certainly have some issues. And I mean, Europe has just gotten smacked with all of that. Um, it's kind of a crazy concept to think to cap your population. I feel like
Yeah.
there's got to be another way to like say that or go about that, but
Yeah. I don't
you
know.
know, I can
In
see why
Canada,
it's a
it's
problem.
insane here, man. Like how many people we let in so easily, and a lot of them are beautiful people. We were just not equipped to
They're beautiful
assimilate them in.
people.
Beautiful people. They're the best people around. Everybody knows it. But they're all super nice. But it's like they're like, this is a shit show. This is not what we thought we'd be walking into.
Yeah. Next piece that I'm seeing is robot dogs with hyper realistic silicon heads. I feel like I've seen this
Yeah,
before.
this was from a few months ago. So that's Beeple. He's one of the biggest people that made NFTs relevant, if I'm recalling correctly. Or is
Mhm.
that not him? Yeah, Beeple. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that is. And he does these like very crazy one of one arts within the NFT world. So he's like one of the biggest high art names within the collecting space for NFTs. And so he does also some in real life projects, which he had those, and he had all like the tech guys on that.
Mm, word.
Yeah.
So that's the news I've got and stuff to look at there, but we've got some memes and some reactions to do.
Mhm. Let's do it.
All right. So Mr. Beast did a poll.
I did
Okay.
see this.
Okay. So everybody, you have to tell us in the chat what you're gonna do. He said everyone on Earth takes a private vote by pressing a red or blue button. If more than 50% of people press the blue button, then everyone will survive. If less than 50% of people press the blue button, only people who pressed the red button will survive. Which button would you press? Be honest.
So the red person survives either way, basically.
If you press the red button, you survive either way. That's correct. But if you press the blue button, you're voting for everyone surviving.
I'd go blue.
Really?
For sure.
What would y'all do? Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat. Oh, snap.
Bro, I wouldn't want to live if I knew that I played a part in that many people not living.
Bro, I don't know, man. I think
well, I think this is really betting on the natural state of people.
Which is dude. That's such a bummer.
It's all good. We're talking about the mic thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound that bad. You're good, buddy. So let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So everyone on Earth takes a private vote by pressing a red or blue button. If more than 50% of the people press blue button, everyone survives. Okay, yes. If less than 50%. Okay. Yeah, I'd go blue. I think the world is more good than it is bad. I'd go blue.
So that was my initial reaction, but I guess it's also kind of an IQ test kind of thing, or like a game theory thing. Because technically the like right answer is just red.
Guarantees your survival.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's like, this one was the thing that helped me understand.
That's crazy. Carl says, I'm more of a quality over quantity guy myself. That's crazy. But I think if we change the systems, like a lot of the people that you're probably thinking of when you say that, like they don't have to be what they currently are either. Like the things that are annoying can also change too.
Right. That's a very Carl statement right there.
Yeah. That's on brand.
So that was interesting to see that people also did at scale choose the blue button. Another big thing that just happened. I'm not a huge sports guy, so Ben, I'm curious if you might have heard about this Texas Tech quarterback.
I did hear that he's potentially in some trouble for some gambling stuff.
So this guy, Brendan Sorsby, is about to enter a gambling addiction program because he been gambling. And he even been gambling on his own games, apparently, back in 2022.
Which, that's a big no-no.
I mean, come on, brother. And so the NCAA and whatnot is starting to crack down on this. And they're saying, look, you guys can't do this. But this guy in general, he just had a gambling problem, period. Right. And that's kind of how it got there, I guess, is to the point to where
I think this will become an increasingly common story.
I mean, crazy timing that something like this is happening. Because yeah, like at the end of the day, this guy is set to make millions and millions of dollars, and he's just placing thousands of bets, you know what I'm saying, online. And it's not what I've been continuing to learn, because we've been talking to people about this. It's like, this is a disease.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's not people like being obsessed with money or whatever. Like, no, they're addicted to a non-substance substance. Right. And it's just wild to see that someone has such a future ahead of them, and like just putting it all on the line, you know, for something that wasn't even a thing that long ago, you know, as far as being able to do it online and whatnot.
It's taking over because, and I talked about this so early on the pod, the natural temperament of an athlete is a risk taker. Especially if it's combat or physical related. Like you playing football, period, is a massive risk.
Nice.
You think these people aren't going to be predisposed to that? Like, why do you think they party oftentimes and get in trouble and do all these things? They live life on the edge. Playing that sport is like that. So yeah, it's so clearly going to be a massive issue because of how accessible it is. It's also where prediction markets become a bigger issue, right? It's because how much, if let's say they do crack down on the regulated stuff, where does that source go? Like they just go there, you know?
Yeah. That is a good point there for sure. So
I'm starting to think I'm addicted to DCAing. Yeah, you should. Everyone should be addicted to that. If you got even a little bit of money, I was explaining the concept to my buddy last night, and he's like, "Well, I don't have that much money." I'm like, "You don't need that much money, man. Just start buying."
right. Yeah, that's always the thing that messes with my head is hearing people say that. It's like, well, you don't have money if you don't start putting
Yeah.
money in places.
Yeah, no, I'm like, guys, everything we're saying that is your problem right now. If you just did this a few years ago, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
100%, man. So, with all that said, Texas Tech is treating this situation here as a mental health problem, which is a
Wow.
major cultural shift.
That's a moment. Yeah.
So, so he's gonna go and get some help and hopefully go and have a career in the NFL.
Mm.
Next piece, we've got one of our friends from the show out in Las Vegas, and he had some reporting to do. He said that Bitcoin conference is a ghost town. The XRP community can never be like this. Let's see what he had to say.
Alrighty, guys, we are standing live at the Bitcoin conference right now, and I think this image really speaks for itself. There's more empty chairs than there are human beings in the building right now, but with us in the midst of a bear market, I'm not surprised. The one thing I would say, Johnny, for the XRP community, this could never be us.
Wow.
Yep.
That's insane.
It's pretty crazy. I remembered Miami. The most recent one that I went to in Miami was very much so like that. It was crazy. That, and then we had an NFT conference that like in 2021 or whatever was like popping. Then the next year it was empty, completely dead.
You need the communities, man. That's insane. That's actually truly shocking. Maybe like that wasn't a big keynote speaker or whatever it was, but that's pretty insane.
Nah, dude, yeah, it's just night and day though. Because the thing is that when it's up, there's no space. You know what I mean? Like those rooms are so full.
Packed.
You know what I'm saying? Like crazy full, bro.
I think a lot of people who have gotten into crypto over the last few years like haven't seen that stuff.
That's true too, dude. Because even I forget about it. Like that, I went to one where it was crazy, bro.
Dude, it was absurd. it took over everything. Like I talked with a guy who I met at the YouTube conference so many times who like really sold me on NFTs by accident. That story was crazy. How this guy had spent so much money to be at this conference. He didn't even have a YouTube channel. And his point of like reference for like how he validated himself to be part of every conversation was he's like, "Oh, don't worry, bro, I'm an ape."
And I was yeah. I remember you telling me that one.
Referring to he held a bored ape and like that was I'm like, that's seriously how you see this thing? I'm like, whoa. There's a lot of people who probably think like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because for me, my mentality was always like, I'm going to go build so many things that I'll have to be at the table. Right? What about the people who aren't going to do that, but they want to be at the table?
Mm.
If that becomes a price tag, they'll probably do it.
Crazy thought. Crazy thought. So yeah, so in general, the XRP people are like stoked being out there. There's like a bunch of
Was that Cash Patel? Sorry to cut you off, man. Was that Cash Patel speaking?
I think that's what it was.
Okay,
yeah.
that checks out. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. So XRP all over Las Vegas. Lots of investment done. Cut that music off.
Very good point here too, though. Ain't nobody trying to go to hot ass Las Vegas during an oil crisis to listen to Valhalla Patel talk about BTC. That's totally fair.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And Vegas is crazy place.
Yeah. I've only been once, but yeah, it's not somewhere that I would sign up to go on a frequent basis.
Next piece. This is incredible. Elon Musk will receive 200 million super voting shares in SpaceX only if the company establishes permanent Mars colony with at least 1 million people. In other words, Elon Musk will only receive this pay package if 1 million people live on Mars. In other words, Elon Musk's biggest goal is now establishing a colony on Mars with a similar population as Dallas, Texas. Musk is so optimistic about this goal that the vast majority of his pay is now contingent on it. Life on Mars is closer than many expect.
Could they potentially get a loophole around that by trying to create rights for AIs and sending the robots there.
I was gonna say, yeah, artificial people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have to be, because there's no chance that in this lifetime you're gonna have 1 million people on Mars, bro.
Definitely seems like a lofty goal.
Unless this thing is just so messed up, this Earth thing that is.
It's Earth thing. That's crazy.
Yeah. Live trial update, because also Elon Musk is in court at the moment for this situation with OpenAI. There was an interesting exchange that took place yesterday. So Musk versus OpenAI's lawyer. William, their defense lawyer over there, I believe, William Savitt, he opens up with a misleading premise. Okay, and Musk says, you're being misleading. What you're saying is false. Savitt tries again in a different loaded frame. Musk says, your questions are not simple. They are designed to trick me. Savitt demands a yes or no answer to a complicated question. Musk says, if you ask a question where there is no possible simple answer, I must give a longer answer, because any simple answer would be misleading the jury. Musk reaches for an analogy. He says, the classic answer to a yes or no question is not so simple. For example, if you ask the question, will you stop beating your wife? Judge Gonzalez Rogers cuts him off. No, we're not going to go there. The courtroom laughs. Savitt apologizes for the question. Musk says, I find it funny you saying that it wasn't an unfair question since you're only asking unfair questions. Savitt says, I'm doing my best. Musk says, that's not true. So classic situation in court with a cross-examination taking place where your job as the lawyer is to get someone to say something in just a simple yes or a no.
That's so messed up. Even if it's like, you're painting a picture that's inaccurate, like that's literally their job.
It's literally their job. Yeah, man, that's a crazy concept, being a trial lawyer, man.
My great uncle was like a criminal lawyer that was he went the route of, what's it called, where like if you can't afford one, they give you one.
Like a public defender.
Yeah. And so he was like top like 10 of his class, and all of his other buddies took on like the private route, made way more money.
Right.
But he was doing it for that reason. So like he has some crazy stories.
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy job to have. A public defender is nuts.
He's who made me not want to be a lawyer, because everyone was like, Ben's gonna be a lawyer, Ben's gonna be a lawyer. And then after I talked to him some more, I'm like, I ain't gonna be a lawyer.
Yeah, man. That's tough.
What did this is a tangent, but like when you were a kid and you were growing up, what did everyone tell you that they thought you'd become when you grew up?
I hate that. There was one lady that I remember explicitly just saying I'd be famous. And I was just like, okay. Motivational speaker.
You were basically are.
A lot. Yeah.
You basically are.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
But yep. And then moving forward here.
Yeah, it says Carl says lawyers hate it when you lawyer them right back. Do they ever? Because they're not used to that ever happening. And then DC Pierre says, imagine being part of the jury. That'd be fantastic TV.
Oh yeah, man. No doubt about that. Somebody was saying like the transcripts from this are going to be like framed somewhere.
Become an NFT, man.
Tight. Next piece here. Can someone do a correlation study on kids who started with Mac computers versus Windows PCs and tech illiteracy, or just general problem solving skills? Because I have a hypothesis. This is kind of memes-ish. And then the response was, I installed Linux on my laptop when I was 12. So the question is, I don't know if it was clear or not. Mac computers or Windows? If you started on Mac, like you probably aren't as good at problem solving as if you start off on Windows. I think that's what she's basically saying.
Okay.
And this dude's like, dude, I installed Linux when I was 12. She said, autistic children will be excluded from the study.
That is super good.
So that was pretty good there. And then I saw yesterday also Stripe doing something. This is, I'm jumping around a little bit. Stripe apparently is approving a wallet where you can securely empower agents to spend on your behalf.
No way.
Payment credentials are never exposed, and you approve every purchase.
Through stablecoins, I guess, right?
I think so. Yep. So agentic commerce is getting ready to go down, folks.
That changes things so much so fast.
It's gonna be crazy at that point. That's
yeah.
when things just speed up and get warp speed weirdo stuff. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Let's see here.
That's where I feel like the existing social media platforms that haven't been built to like stop that become unusable.
True.
They're gonna start spamming out so much content. If you don't change the rules of distribution, they'll become unusable. Or unless people are cool with watching everything technically being an ad and being made by AI. That's what people have to. Well, that's the market will decide that.
Fair. Totally. Now it's time for pure jokes. Cow in Crisis is thanking Google Maps for protecting the privacy of this cow here.
That's freaking awesome.
Thought that was pretty good.
The Google Maps stuff was kind of trippy. Did you ever see those cars go by when they were doing them?
It's crazy. I just saw something. No. I mean, maybe.
I saw it a few times.
So I was like,
there was times when I was like in the picture and my face was like blurred out. I saw it going by, right?
I just saw a picture about that recently, like 2 days ago, for whatever reason. And I don't remember why this was on my feed, but it was like a bunch of people outside and their faces were all blurred out. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy. Like,
it is wild. So Dre here says, see, I need to get into these AI agents to make some bread. I think that the better way of maybe looking at it is what's something that I can already do in the real world that an agent can help me do. Like, I think a lot of people get too fixated on like, oh, agents. It's like the value of an agent is what can this now do for you IRL in the real world or the online world even that you don't have the time to do.
100%.
Because there's the real moat for like people who, I wouldn't overthink this, man. There's so many businesses that exist out there that could probably be getting their ass kicked by a solo team right now.
Facts, man. And OP. This next piece we talked about on the show a few weeks ago, or maybe even last week, about the 2027, the US is like mandating that cars have certain amounts of surveillance on them. So like if you're drunk or something and you get in your car, it like won't start type of thing. And this guy made a skit that I think was pretty good. This is when a tornado hits in 2027.
Daddy, looking good! Granny, we gotta go.
You think? Let's go!
Come on!
Due to elevated heart rate, high stress levels, and panic indicators, you are not fit to operate this vehicle.
What? There's a tornado!
Have you tried calming down?
Daryl, it's getting bigger.
Tried calming down. It's great.
Breathing exit. Inhale. Exhale.
I'm not breathing right now!
Oh, Daryl, do something!
I'm trying!
Analyzing driver condition, I've determined you
I know what you're determined, but you're wrong!
I am never wrong.
Whose bright idea was this?
Your government's.
Granny, I have a feeling we're not in America anymore.
Uh-oh.
So silly, but I mean,
no, I don't think so at all.
I don't know. Like,
I feel like they are kind of the fact that that's satire, but if you think about what's being proposed for even 2 seconds, it's not that satirical. Like that's the future.
Yeah. So,
or the potential for it, obviously, right? Like I'm sure the tech people would be like, of course the tech will be better than this, but like, why do I have to take that chance?
Just the premise, you know.
Just let me start my car.
Yeah, dude, like this is crazy. I
guess there's better ways to solve this.
For sure. Like how about just use the court system properly and you know, I don't know, whatever. Anyways.
That's a crazy concept, Keith.
So there's this concept called a speed run, right? Where I don't know where it started, but the place that I've seen it is in like the Church of Scientology or whatever.
Okay.
Where people like try to go in as deep as they can and record as much as they can. And like the joke is like you run into like some crazy entities if you get too far.
Did that come from speed running like from video games?
For sure, for sure. And these guys have done one for Palantir. Okay, so they're going into the Palantir offices and
No
doing a
way.
speed run. Yeah, so I have no idea how real this is, but
Yeah, it's
it's
probably a bit,
joke.
but oh yeah, that's fake. Yeah.
Hey, stop. 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 Go, 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 go. Stop. Stop. No. Stop. Enough. No. Go, 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 go. Oh, come on. Oh my God. You guys really need to get out of here. Let's go to the M&M store. Yeah, okay, let's go, go, go. Go, go, go.
So that's good work. That's the name of the channel. I believe that they're either owned by or in partnership with the newsletter called Morning Brew. They do like this business or culture satire with like a business first lens. And that one guy who is their main character or their main host, he's really, really good. He's very creative, a great presenter, and they do a lot of the stuff that I hope to do as we expand out the ecosystem of like very highly produced content that just hits.
Right.
It's like not highly produced in terms of the fact that like when people think highly produced, they think like, oh, it needs to be more crackhead edits like Mr. Beast. No, I mean like intentional thought behind like the shot, the joke, the setup, the pacing, the not rushing things because they understand how to tell a story. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's an interesting thought, dude, because that's actually really important for what's happening right now. Higher production is not nicer camera.
It's not.
You know, it's not better lights. It's like, no, it's like putting the things in place to tell the story the best way that you can.
Sorry. It's the feeling it creates.
Right.
Right. And so I think a lot of people, they're rushing through something and then wondering why it creates a rushed feeling in the audience. Right. Everyone's saying, oh, everyone has a 10-second attention span. It's like, no, there's not enough good storytellers on these platforms that warrant watching for a longer period of time, right? Who understand how they function.
That's
but like
true.
more and more are going to become like that. Those moats of like the strategy piece are starting to like go away. And we even hope to build tools and platforms that take those down even further so the best story can win. But I do see that happening.
Totally, man. This next piece here, this is a crazy one, but it's not too crazy when you consider who it's coming from. You had NASA in the White House yesterday, and there were some statements made.
Are you considering relocating NASA's headquarters out of DC once the lease is up? States like Texas, Ohio, and Florida.
Well, the best man to tell you that is the man sitting right over here. You heard that question? With those beautiful ears of yours? He's got great hearing, you know. He's got super hearing.
Trick of the trade, sir.
That's mean, dude. This guy's just catching strays, man.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy, man.
I had a funny joke, but I'm not gonna say it. It's mean.
My man, he really did that. One other final meme that I got here is from College Football 2027. Have you played the college football games at all?
I used to back in the day. The last one that I ever played was the one that had Denard Robinson, who was my guy from Michigan, on the cover. And then they went away for a while. They came back like 2 or 3 years ago once they did the whole NIL thing. And then since then, I've only played a game here and there, not very much.
Gotcha. Because it kind of looks like they might actually be doing some cool stuff. I don't know if these images that I've been seeing are real or not yet, but it looks like they're like on campus and you get to like do stuff on campus. Like, bro, you know how sick that would be? I don't know if that's real or not, but somebody did make this joke. They said the CFP 27 gameplay is a little bit too realistic.
Yeah. I didn't catch that at first.
And
we nailed our UI UX though, eh? For our target customer here, like, which will make sense in 2 or 3 weeks from now. But like that's
Yep. So yeah, he's gambling in the middle of the huddle there on his phone. So that's what that was. And then I saw one other funny thing that was kind of out there, kind of crazy. This might be the best realtor ad I have ever seen. This guy says, "Uh-oh, looks like you need another bedroom," next to the pregnancy tests.
That's so good.
It's a crazy ad. I'm sure it's highly effective.
That's so good.
But yep, that's what I got for that today. Anything on your mind, Ben?
No, man. We'll throw it to the chat for anything that they want to touch on before we leave. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. This was a ton of fun, and you guys make the entire experience. So thank y'all for people who are tuning in here live. We do understand that we've got a lot of comments being like, I can't make the 12 p.m. slot, which I totally understand. So we are going to mix in those evening streams. Once I'm able to lock down this busy co-host of mine for the Pokemon one, we'll make that happen on something like Monday evening.
Or tomorrow. So keep your notifications on.
That's what you got to do. Click subscribe and then click the all button. So why you want to do that is because this channel is only ever going to be live streams. So that notification will not be shorts. We post them elsewhere for that purpose.
That's correct. That's correct. Final thing is to look at some of the comments from yesterday. We always appreciate you guys pulling up after the fact. We got Wyclef Friege. Great guest. Thanks for the show. Thank you. Josh Dolder said good stuff. Thank you,
good
Josh.
stuff, Josh.
Tone World, bro. Drive to Survive is so peak. It really got me into F1 and all my friends.
See, I told you, bro. And the thing is, why aren't crypto people doing this? Is that what's the lifetime value of a fan? Right? For sports, it's crazy. For crypto, it's even bigger, man.
What was that? Because I don't even remember what
it was like a Netflix series about the characters within that ecosystem.
Gotcha.
Like the brands. Truthfully, most of the fans that you know that exist, like unless they were talking about this when they were like a little kid, like they came from this. Like I got some buddies that now all want to go to it whenever it's in Montreal, and they act like they're lifelong fans. I'm like, guys, you watch the Netflix shit. You know what I mean? Like, no hate, right. Love it. Oh, it's awesome. I love brands like doing good marketing, but yeah.
That's hilarious, man. And then let me move to one other comment that I saw here. Pepperman with the algorithm boost. We appreciate that. And then how are you now? Medicine and healthcare, on one hand, has advanced, but on the other hand, it's gone completely backwards. Big pharma has been completely monopolized and monetized. The monetization is number one priority in the pharmaceutical industry. People were much healthier before the invention of petroleum-based medicine pharmaceuticals. The good advancement has been diagnostics. The treatments are not treatments. They're Band-Aids that cover symptoms, which lead to more Band-Aid solutions.
Yeah, I think the incentives are off on a lot of things. And I think that if money changes, then we make it to look at those things again, right? Which is my hopeful thing, where a lot more things can become decentralized. But yeah, man. And then Lucas here says, wouldn't be possible without you guys. It's insane to me that you guys don't get more views. It's because of the game that we're fighting, right? We've talked about it a bunch of times. Like why your guys' engagement matters so much and sharing it with a friend and all that stuff is because we're competing against the dogs of the dogs with content format like this. Like we're competing against people that have very deep relationships with their audiences. And then and then other people who would probably love this stuff, they don't even have a show. They're not even really familiar with the concept of watching something like this. So it's an uphill battle, but we appreciate you guys so much and you make it a lot of fun.
Most certainly. Most certainly. These are days that I'm sure we will eventually miss. So we definitely appreciate you guys.
Very true. Yeah. How are you now is a question for you, Keith. I think you'd be best to answer. You guys were talking about hardware wallets. What's your take on Ledger? Do I need to get a new wallet?
Oof. I started with them, and at the end of the day, they've been the ones that have had security breaches as far as like information coming out.
Could that be because they're the biggest name, though?
It could be. And what happened in particular, right? It's not that their wallets got hacked. It was that their database of their websites and whatnot got hacked. So customer information leaked.
Makes sense.
So still not ideal. You don't want your address out on the internet.
Of course not. And how would you pick a hardware wallet then? Like how does someone do their own research to make a good decision?
I hate that because it's kind of just not Ledger.
Really?
But only because of that reason. Like they screwed that up royally. Like you can't make that kind of a mistake.
Totally fair. Yeah. And there's brand risk that comes with being the biggest name too, right? Like the prize is so big, people are going to come at you.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, stuff that's more analog, right, is one of the big things. Like, because there's also choosing an actual wallet. It's like the Bluetooth wallet. Like, brother, don't use the Bluetooth wallet. Don't do that. That's not cool. That's not a cool feature. Like you want it to be offline.
Yeah, that's the purpose.
Yeah. So that's the only other thing I would say for criteria of like thinking about this. It's like stuff that does not have a bunch of features. It's kind of good. You want that. You should do one thing.
Yeah, like we should have learned that lesson by now when everything's a freaking smart device and its actual function doesn't freaking work, right?
Exactly.
There's so many things that are yeah. But what's your next? What do you got next?
As always, guys. Well, actually, we have something that for you who are real people who are seriously here right now. Let me tell you right now, we have something new going on. We talked about it last episode, and it's going to change the trajectory of the show. It's going to change your experience with the show as well. And it's this concept of the memes in markets highlights page. What this is these are the highlights from the conversations that we are having on memes and markets in a format that looks like a traditional podcast, so that people can come into the ecosystem and actually enjoy it. And what we would like from you is to go ahead and click the link in the description so that you can subscribe to this version of the podcast. And for one, when you may not have the time to hang out with us live, you just want to see the highlights, or if you want to send this content to someone and you're like, dude, just watch this 40-minute video. You don't have to watch the 3-hour stream.
Yes. And it can be around a specific topic. So like why we're doing it like this is that you guys probably have conversations in your own life that you would love to send them our show, but you don't have something that's long enough to make a change, but short enough they'll actually try, which is what this is. And so these will be bangers. We have a massive catalog of content that will continue to roll out that producer Sharp is working on in the background. And these have already been very good. These are very shareable. What a Sale said that they were our first subscriber. You are an absolute legend.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for that. And then, yeah, I think you'll really enjoy them. And I think one of the biggest things is that gives us a place for, if you guys can't tune in live, which we obviously want you to, the real OGs will always do that. But this allows you to catch up and not to fall too far behind on the core subjects that we're talking about. So that way, because one of the things with a show like this is that we can't always provide context every single time, because that's all that we would be doing all the time. So when there's key foundational stuff, I try to stop us. Keith tries to stop us. But if we only did that, like we wouldn't even have a show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So eventually, once we catch up, the highlights thing will just become part of the ecosystem. And then we're also going to do like once we have more time, me and Keith will also do like a breakdown of every episode of like the key things that we covered that we'll post on like Instagram and TikTok once we have more time. So yeah, we're trying to do everything we can to help you guys and gals and thems out there, help us get the community growing with the people we want here.
100%. So yeah, super excited about that. I think it's going to be fantastic. It's really, really the biggest thing I know is trying to share this is crazy.
Hard.
You know,
it's too hard.
Someone that like there's very small chance they're going to even click on it. You know,
it's like that meme with the long text. It's like I ain't reading it.
Yeah, exactly. So highlights becomes that spreader.
Great question.
Yeah,
so
we appreciate you.
Tio here is a great question. So what's the difference between this and the Clips channel? So the Clips channel is like super top of funnel, like very broad, solo specific things. Usually going to be like 12 to 15 minutes or less. Very top of funnel. A general audience that doesn't know much beyond that thing could watch it, enjoy it, etc. This will bring in a lot of the people who are really only watching this kind of content in that very deliberate, not scripted, but pre-recorded podcast format, because they like the fact that it's optimized for what they want as fast as they can get it, kind of deal. And so we give those people who don't want this more live, free-flowing experience the same sort of value that they want where they're at, right? Like the conversations that we've had have been freaking awesome, very transformative, right? But a lot of times they're hidden behind the format, the packaging around it of seeing, oh, this is 3 hours, right?
100%. Yeah, super pumped to watch that continue to do what it do. And then, so click the link in the description and go subscribe to that, show some love. And also, it's just a great place to, like you said, to catch up when things are hard to keep up with.
Totally. Because I know there's a lot of people who have been mentioning the Jeff Booth stuff, for example. That's why we started with that episode, but they weren't going to go back and listen to it all. Plus, we've had some tech issues with our live streaming software that has made the video not the best at times while we're live streaming. So unfortunately, that's also there as a problem for after on the recording, whereas we can treat this audio so that there's no issues whatsoever. I also had a call with the providers of our software this morning, and so hopefully that will be resolved very soon. I appreciate you guys sitting with us with the sometimes audio issues that comes from live streaming. but we're going to fix that as soon as we possibly can.
Totally. Shout out Mike. Guys, what's the best way to get back into trading after not trading for a while? I'm trying to learn from scratch, but with the right community. Keith, do you have a trading community specifically? Yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend getting involved with the community. The problem I have with recommending the one that I'm a part of is that there's so many different factions and different types of ways to trade.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like to. The one that I kind of subscribe to is one where it's kind of, oof. It's a thing where if you see these things this way, then you won't see the markets any other way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that it's necessarily right. It's just something that I subscribe to.
It's fascinating.
So I just feel bad about trying to recommend anything, but definitely find some communities and try to be around people that have like, dude, there was this guy who over the past couple of months, he basically came out and said that he was lying about everything, like faking his.
No way. Is this the guy you told me about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he came out and made another video. It was like, oh, I was just kidding.
Oh, yeah. I remember you saying that too.
But then he disappeared, bro.
So maybe he wasn't kidding.
So he wasn't kidding, bro. He just needed to save face for his legal team. So anyways, point was like, make sure that people have verified profits if you're going to follow them or listen to them. Like, unfortunately, if that's, you have to actually do that. You have to actually like do that all the way.
Yeah. The internet, so many people are full of shit, right? And people will follow a charismatic leader if they're confident, right? Because a lot of times you'll find something when it's new to you, and so you don't know enough to spot a bullshitter. And they basically strong arm you into basically saying that if you don't support them blindly, that you have a mindset problem, and that's why you won't be successful.
Right.
They play that shit all the time, man. And then they'll gatekeep. They won't let someone who would ever challenge them in the sphere or vicinity near them, because it's basically a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can't challenge the leader, because then you might see that there's flaws, like every other human being, right?
Yep. So crazy to see that, because he was one of the key figures in that space, and came down just real fast. And he's a young kid too, like he's like 22 or something. So
he's 22 now, or when he started?
He's 22 now.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's like super young, and I'm like, I guess dude, you get to make those kinds of mistakes that young, I guess.
Yeah, that'll mess up your brain making like that kind of money from that big time. There's also so many people teaching people to be course creators for a long period of time, and so yeah, it's a slippery slope. I get why course creators have there are some amazing courses out there. I also want to stress that, like, if you do your due diligence and you find something that can actually just change your life or your business situation or solve one problem that's a bottleneck, courses aren't bad, right? Courses that are bullshit are bad. That's like the biggest difference. But people always go black, white. I want to do this here. So this is really important. So Bear Bulldog said, in order to learn from YouTube University, you first need to learn how to learn. Bingo. Because most people have only ever learned something that's been fed to them. So they don't actually know how to learn. They know how to memorize. Massive 100%. Difference.
Very well said. Very, very well said. And then shot a mic. Oh no, Teo, first off, I follow the young guy living in Brickell driving around in the BMWs. Yeah. It's tough. I mean, the other way to kind of get a gauge is just incentives, right? Do they sell anything? Because if they don't, then that's also kind of helpful too.
That's a massive thing in the crypto industry too.
Yeah. Because it's just like, why are you, if you really are a successful trader, bro, like, you don't really need to sell anything,
It's the same with business owners too, right? Like, if you're a really good business owner, like, I do think consulting is a big thing, and I will consult with like massive brands or like big ass companies, but I'm going to charge through the ass for it, because it's not meant for like someone who I can't help immediately make a massive leverage change.
Right. And to be clear, like, I'm not saying that is for sure a way to say that they're a scammer. Like, totally. I don't think that. I think people do that. They overdo that. You know, it's like, oh, why are you selling something? It's like, bro, like, you know.
Do you know how much work I've done to know these things? And do you know the impact that they can make when applied? Like, I totally get what you're saying. I'm always very cautious of like selling to people who have been through enough life to understand that concept.
That's cool. And then it also comes to like, what's the process of you vetting of you getting vetted to buy as well?
What do you mean by that?
Because if you can tell that when you pull up to buy, they don't care where you're at or what you know or whatever, then that's a sign. As in, look, I'm coming to you, you're selling something for $50,000,
Yeah.
which means that like it's legit.
Mhm.
But I'm coming to you with my last 50 grand, don't know anything about content, and I'm like, Ben, here's 50 grand, like make me great.
Yeah,
You're
got
gonna
it.
be like, dude, I can't
Get out of
actually
here.
help you. Like,
Yeah. Very, very good point.
yeah.
And I think if course creators did that more normally, then they probably wouldn't have the reputation that some people have. And unfortunately, it's usually the bad actors that create that reputation for even the people that are. Right?
Exactly.
There's not too much you can do, because if there's enough people willing to be slimy, then that's what gets pushed.
Yeah, and then the whole industry is just clouded with that. So then the people who are coming in don't know any better. They think that that's normal, or that that's like how it's supposed to go.
That's just the game, bro. Don't hate the player, hit the game.
Yeah.
It's like, no, man, think about the person on the other side of the screen here, man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's why when I did door-to-door sales, that's why I wasn't like one of the top salesmen. It's because the top salesman will sell you something even when they know it's going to hurt your life in a bad way.
Facts.
I couldn't do that, man. Like when I looked at their finances and I saw they couldn't afford it, I'd leave. Right? My guys who won all the sales competitions, they ain't leaving. If they're getting approved for the credit card, they're putting that thing through.
That's wild, man. Just automobile industry, right? It's like that. It's just so fascinating to see how people's worldviews are, man. I met a guy who sold loans at a car dealership, and you could tell he was kind of one of those guys, but a super successful guy. You know what I mean?
They're always successful.
But I'm like, man, I don't know if I'd buy anything from you.
I got a lot of buddies where like they're great salesmen, and then my friends are like, "Oh, should I go buy from them?" I'm like, I wouldn't. Right? Like I love them. I love hanging out with them, but like in their work field, like it's just a slightly different thing, right? And there's also some guys that are great salesmen that are also very ethical too. I'm just saying there are some guys that is the only metric that matters. Like getting the sale is the only thing they care about. And someone in that situation, you should be wary of them.
For sure. I feel like tech sales is the place where you see like the most upstanding people that I've seen.
Probably because they're the most. Why do you think that would be, actually?
I don't know. I mean, it's utilitarian. It's like either you can actually get something from this or you can't. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's part of it. It's not like some, like a car is it's straight ego purchase.
It's not really selling, it's matchmaking kind of deal.
Yes. Yeah. And to be the best at that, you really have to understand that, because there's also so many alternatives. So it's like, bro, like, do you actually need the software or not? Like, here's what the competitors are doing. Like, it's different. You know what I mean? It's software. It's, I don't know.
So this is a great point by What a Sale too. When I was a salesman for a while, I just saw it as a product educator. It made me less sleazy. Totally. Nice. Right? And then typically anybody that you can sell, if you do educate them, you'll also get them there too. So you can still win by being not a piece of shit, but like you're guaranteed to win if you are like that, unfortunately. If you have the right temperament and the skill set. I'm not saying you just walk into it.
Yeah. I was watching this video yesterday about one of the guys that like blew up over the past few years, and I hadn't heard any of this. But the dude was a car salesman. I won't say his name, he's massive. He's a car salesman, but like his actual origins was that he was basically a part of a big fraud thing where they were like getting people approved for loans that they weren't supposed to be.
There was a lot of that.
And dude's huge now. And like apparently has fallen off quite a bit because people started to find this out, that was his actual origins. And the only reason, by the way, that this dude's not in prison essentially is because he ratted out on all of his higher ups in the company.
Whoa.
So that was great. I'm like, whoa. So this dude's just out here walking, making millions now, selling sales training,
dude,
because he ratted on his bosses.
There's a lot of people out there that will do anything. Like a big reason why I stopped even looking at the Canadian housing market was because for the brief moment of time when I was looking at it, the prices were also crazy. But when I had to start finding like lenders and stuff of like how to get a mortgage, there were some people that I met where I was like, oh, this has got to be a bubble. Like one guy that I said verbatim, he's like, there's always a way if you're willing to play ball. I'm like, for a mortgage? That's crazy. So like, I think there's probably a lot of that present in Canada.
Wow.
and how much of that gets uncovered and how quickly can they slow the bleeding from that kind of stuff will be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Because if it's going on, if I'm finding it, right, it's probably going on a far larger scale.
Right. 100%, man. Shout out Mike said, I look forward to the days when the chat is so full you guys can't engage with us like this anymore. The real OGs will remember. Shout out to you both.
So we're gonna give like a cheap tier of membership, so that way we can turn it to members only, and then you guys can. It'd be super cool if we could do like a really cheap price point for like a select period of people. Is that possible? Like as soon as we switch to that, it'd be dope if we could like lock them in for like a $1 or $2 a month, and then. Do you know what I'm saying? And then in the future, as we're a big thing, then you guys came here late. It's $10 for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, they got to build that in.
That would be so sick. Because that would really make people like incentivized to ride with you.
Right.
Right. Because okay, now and they're not going to stop because they're stuck in on $1, right?
That's
so it's
a
like,
good. Yeah.
I don't want to leave this because then I'll have to come back and pay 10. School built that into a natural mechanism into their platform, and it sells like crazy, dude. I've stayed with shit longer than I wanted to because I'm like, if I want to come back, I'm gonna pay way more.
100%. Yeah, YouTube should definitely be doing that.
Anthony said, as a tech salesman, hardware though, thanks for calling me not sleazy. There's so many amazing salespeople out there that are not sleazy, but I'm sure you as a salesperson have run into the guys we're referring to.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, you usually think of like finance, stockbroker / insurance salesperson, or car salesman when you think of like the tougher ones.
Yeah, door to door is also a crazy experience too.
Yeah.
Door to door was a lot of fun, dude. Like getting shit on by random strangers. It was so funny because it was so wild to see how someone could like treat someone like not a human being. And then that really opened up my eyes. Like I'm sure like the reality of like, I'm sure like racism and stuff like that nature, how people are just so fixed on these things where they don't even see the human being in front of them. That was like that was a shocking thing for me. Like literally I was just treated like filth on their doorstep. And it's like, and a lot of people are going through and going into environments where they just have that as is, like because of people's prejudices. Like, it's fucked.
For sure.
So yeah, it was it definitely a crazy thing. And also taught you how like funny and fickle people are. Right. Like there are multiple instances where I knocked on the door. They treated me like shit. I ran through my pitch and then they bought from me after calling me a piece of shit. Right. So it's like, you don't really listen to like what people say right away, because that's usually this like, they're not even thinking at the current moment.
That's very true.
That's a lot of comments, right, that we even get. They're so emotionally charged. They're not even that person's real thoughts. Right. People have lost the ability to have a filtration over their emotions, so they're purely regulated by them, as we already talked about in the show, right? So most comments that you see are that.
That's real. That's a real point, man. Tons of insight from what you just said about the experience from door-to-door sales. Yeah, dude, super powerful stuff.
Honestly, I would throw if I had a son, even if I had a daughter, but things are getting pretty messed up now, so definitely a son, I'd be making him do door-to-door sales or something like that, right? I learned so much from really hard shit. Like when I worked for my dad doing physical labor, I was like, I will never do this. Do you know what I'm saying? And that really got me super motivated to want to work harder on my own shit.
Yes.
And then for this, it was like, you just learn so much through hard experiences. And when you're around people that are deliberately subjecting themselves to something that is hard, your life gets better. Every time, right? Why are such good people at the gym typically, right? In some way, like obviously everyone has vices, whatever. But like a lot of people there, it's better than the average crowd, I would say, for the most part. And then if you go up more strategically in terms of what those environments look like, you can usually get better and better very accurately, right?
100%, dude. Totally, man. Kids need to get jobs.
They need to do harder shit, man. They need to stop making excuses. Stop pointing the fucking finger and start pointing the thumb, man.
Totally.
Your life will transform if everything's your fault.
Right.
Because when something's not your fault, you have no control or power over the situation. So even when it's not, it's a good practice to say that this is my fault. Because then at least it gives you some power back in a powerless situation. And that's a start, right? How many people are stuck in this state of just like paralysis? They're like a deer in the headlights because it's always this. Just humor me. For the sake of exercise, how could this be your fault? Play the game with me.
Always.
Right?
Yep. Yep. And then your life gets crazy better.
It can. And I'm so excited for you to start going on the podcasting circuit and explaining more of like your story and all the stuff that you've done. And I think you're gonna be such a shining star for positive change. And I'm super excited to see that.
Oh, thanks, man.
Of course.
But yeah, dude, it'll be a good time. Seen some comments. I'm a little behind, but I know you guys had some bangers in there.
Yeah, the chat's been hot today. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
so
we
much
did.
more fun when y'all do this, man. Like
For sure.
when you're active, because you guys make the conversation go in all these directions. It makes it so much better. So yeah, definitely turn on those notifications if you're watching the replay. Like, it's a difficult thing to describe until you're here live.
100%.
And we'll try to mix in the evening stream so that y'all can do that. And if like let's say hypothetically NFTs were to run in a very big way, we can start doing way more episodes at night. You know what I mean? Like to get on all the builders and stuff.
Yes.
So we'll be rocking with stuff like that too.
Catching the all-time highs live with people as well, you know.
Would be so cool, right?
No doubt, dude.
And we also know enough to actually have the conversations with these people too.
You say that again? Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. It's so interesting, man. There's yeah, we'll sit in a weird spot where hopefully we can really bring in the average person to ask the questions, right? And then like guide people down, like, hey, this is why and how, and like this
We're
is what you're
retail's on
missing.
ramp, buddy.
Yeah.
That's always the thesis, right? And I think we will eventually do that. We're waiting on. We've had like no crypto news go our way at all. Yeah. Like none. It's been a horrendous situation. People are getting torched. Think of how fast that can change when money starts flowing in.
For sure, man. Yeah, you showing me the Pokemon stuff was super interesting because when you're not experiencing it, it's hard to believe that it happens, but it's happening somewhere else.
I know, dude. And if you understand the supply and demand economics of the different markets, you see how much dumber it can get because of that.
Right.
Like that's what people aren't thinking about. Like usually the most ignorant people or the most closed-minded people are usually the loudest. Right? So like a lot of people, if I say the word NFT, they instantly stop listening. And that's a sign to me that person is low IQ.
I just saw your interview with Ari. I just this morning saw that you guys did that. So I went to go and look at it. And one of the most liked comments was like, as soon as this guy said crypto, I stopped watching.
That was my whole point. and I even called out that psychographic profile in the actual episode itself. Right? And it's like, hey, that's why is there always opportunity? Because there will always be people like that. That's why there's always opportunity. If you're the person who's willing to ask a question, to stay curious, like the thesis of the show, you will spot opportunities where other people are too hubris, like they have too much hubris, or like their ego is too big, they won't look. Or sometimes people can't even take on the risk because inevitably there is risk. And if you've won a lot, people typically are like, I don't need to take any risk to continue winning here, so why would I do that? Totally fair point of view. But for everyone else who's not in that situation, which is the majority of the world, you should probably be really, really curious.
Totally, man.
Keith, did you see this? How many steps are you getting in for one of your videos?
I'm sitting here trying to look at my health right now on my phone.
You got to use Step Pals, bro.
Oh, I need to get on my Step Pals grind.
You do. You need to use that, man. I'll give you a little character to keep alive.
Word, man. Yeah, because I have this thing where I run on a treadmill too, and so I don't get those steps counted. So I actually, for my walks, I don't think it's that much. Like I'm not averaging more than, I'm not even at 10,000 steps, guys.
But if you throw in the running, you're way beyond that.
Yeah. But it's like an average of 5,400.
That's considering that you're also going to the gym most of those days. That's pretty damn solid.
Is that enough to keep my Step Pal alive?
You get to choose that. It's the beautiful thing about Step Pals. The goal is whatever you set it.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're doing some new features that are coming out soon with walking clubs. So you get the Keith D walking club. So you could call it like the guy with the stick club or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, because it's virtual.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of banger. Yeah. I see.
So you'll be able to see everyone in your community that you like let into it, and then people can like see the scoreboard of like who's got the most steps kind of deal, and then also you can see if they're letting their pet die.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so that'll be out within the next 2-ish months.
You guys are hilarious.
Treadmill vid, let's go. You will be seeing some different types of content coming from Keith pretty soon. I'm in for that.
I am too, dude. I posted on the Inner Operator channel yesterday or 2 days ago.
How'd it feel?
It just felt good, man.
Feels so good, eh?
That stuff is just real, man.
That's
It's
right.
It's real. It's raw.
I can't wait till the businesses are at a point where I can start doing some of that shit again.
Heck
There's so
yeah,
many things I want to. I have zero time right now.
Yeah, negative time. Carl said cardio with Keith, and then calisthenics with Keith. No, I do get the idea. I like it. You might actually be on to something there, Carl.
Let's go.
But yeah, man, good times ahead. I'm super pumped for that to also be part of the business to a more solid degree. It's like this is actually something that we can monetize. It's just trying to help people live better, more fulfilling lives, man.
That's it. I think we'll be doing a lot of that, and we're super excited to have all of you guys along on the journey. I did want to disclose, I wanted to launch our product to you guys, but it's not at a state where I feel comfortable doing that quite yet. So we may push that back to like Tuesday, hopefully absolute latest Thursday. I've thrown the entire resources that we have within our development team at this thing to get it to a really good state. And we're close. So very soon we'll have something that is going to give you something for free. And then you can also help us out. And then if you want to take it a step further, there is stuff you can pay for that you'll get added benefits for. But at the very least, you'll get something completely free. And then that way you can help us out as well for free. We'll talk about that either Tuesday or Thursday.
Totally. Fantastic. Only other thing from me was, guys, be sure to give us a follow on Spotify and drop us a review if you haven't already. The link to the Spotify is in the description. This helps a ton with the discoverability of the podcast and allows us to continue to get amazing guests on. So definitely feel free to hit that review and follow button on Spotify.
Yes.
Appreciate you, Teo.
Yeah, Teo's got great taste. But yeah, go leave us a 5-star review, click that follow button. And if you ever miss the live streams, that's a great place to consume it on the go. If you don't need the video portion, you still do have the video there, but I like the video viewing experience more on YouTube than I do on Spotify. I usually put Spotify on if I'm just going to have the audio, but we give you all the options. So wherever y'all are at, we'll find you there.
Right.
Cool, man. Well, I'll ask one more time, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the Memes and Markets Highlights channel, please go ahead and do that. That is the first link in the description box down below. So go over there, click subscribe. That would help us out a ton. As a new channel, we can't monetize that channel until we reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So the faster we're able to get there, the faster we're able to grow the team, the faster we're able to reinvest to do all the things that we want to do and build all the things that we want to do alongside you guys, and then teach you how we're doing it along the way. So it's really been from day one, we've been thinking about how do we build things that help people, and then through building them in real life or like building them in public, help you build the things that you want to do so that it spreads way beyond whatever we can touch.
Totally, man.
That's it.
That's
cool.
right on.
That's awesome. Well, that's it for me. Anything else from you, Keith?
Nothing else from me.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much, guys. We'll see all y'all whenever we go live with that evening stream, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Be the light that you want to see.
Make today the best day of your life.
Do that. All right. See you, everyone. Have a great, great day. And we love you. Bye-bye.